I used the wrong font for the rambling addiction thumbnail. Now I'm sad.
Well, everybody just heard that. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy vexyz, the lurking legend. But y'all can just call me Vex, head cook of the Eternal Dawn. Super excited to be here, and we have a wonderful stream planned for you guys. It's been a minute. It's been a little bit. We're so sorry about that. We're gonna be getting some quality, consistent content to you guys more regularly. But we are here with a top 10 devil fruits from our crew here. Let's go ahead and introduce the crew themselves. First off, we have the first mate and historian of the crew, I believe, right? It is Kube of the Red Sea. How you doing today, brother?
Yes, I'm excited. We're about to talk some devil fruits, and it's gonna be fun. Talking about which one's our favorite, more our favorite creative fruit, or the reasons why we just love them, or the reason why we just want to spit about them. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. Excited. Talking about which one.
Oh yeah. And then next up we have the vice captain and frontline combatant of the Eternal Dawn himself. We have NoChillDill. How you doing today, brother?
Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Strong. Yeah, vexyz here to talk about some devil fruit.
Whoa.
I'm very excited to talk about them today. There's only a select few top tier devil fruits in the One Piece world, and we're here to discuss them today.
Oh no. Wonderful.
But everyone gets wrong about Zoro.
I hate that. Next up, last but definitely not least for now, we have the captain himself of the Eternal Dawn crew. We have the one, the only, the Straw Hat Lucas. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing really good. Y'all, go check out Rambling Addiction later. There's a member of the crew that's going to be on tonight's episode. I don't know why I'm being secretive. It's in the title of the episode. It's Mr. NoChillDill. But I also got to shout out real quick our lovely, lovely navigator who's chilling in the chat right now. This 3-day trip. You are the heart and soul of the Eternal Dawn, and we all love you so much.
Absolutely. We'd be lost without you. But huge shout out to 3-day. Huge shout out to all of the goats that we got here in the chat. I see Knack Reacts. Congratulations on hitting over 2.3K. Huge ups for you, brother. I see Dexter. I see 3-day, and we definitely have quite a haul of devil fruits to get into for you all today. Captain, do you want to go first, or did you have somebody else you wanted to
I'll go first. We doing this how we've been doing our top 10 streams, I assume. Do we have to define what a devil fruit is? Because we always do that. I don't think we do.
Oh my god. No, I don't think we gotta worry about it. I mean, you're the captain, you tell me, but I think we're good. I think most people here know what a devil fruit is.
If you don't, no, I'm joking. But yeah, I'll start. Mine.
I was just gonna meme real quick and say that my favorite devil fruits are Miss Golden Week's devil fruit, Django's devil fruit, and no, I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
Don't forget about Arlong and Jinbei's devil fruit.
Oh, he doesn't have a devil fruit. He has blue hockey. That's different.
Blue hockey. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I'll get us started. My number 10 is one of 3 that I have on my list that I don't think a lot of people pay good enough attention to, and it's the fault of the user and their placement in the story, and that is the Gocha Gocha no Mi, or the Pile fruit used by Charlotte Nushi, one of the Charlotte dectuplets. He uses it. The Pile fruit allows you to combine yourself with other people. I think it is actually quite formidable fruit if it was in the hands of someone proper. I also, if I'm being honest, I like this fruit for Frankie. Because of pirate docking, I feel like if there was ever a comical fruit to give to Frankie, it'd be the Pile. So he could be like, activate tactics 13, pirate docking, and then everyone actually combines together. Shout out Prince in the chat. Love our OPU family. Those are the cousins of the Eternal Dawn. Make sure you go over to Preach's channel and check out their podcast and their own channel where they do upload content and go live and whatnot. But yeah, that's my number 10. It is the Gocha Gocha. I think it's overlooked because of how sparingly it was used in the actual main series, but once you dive into the logistics of it and the aspects of the devil fruit that aren't present in the series, and you kind of use your because devil fruits in general come down to imagination, and I just feel like someone with the correct will set could use this fruit to become unstoppable. Imagine a crew like Rocks having a member with this fruit on it, and all of the Rocks pirates come together. It would be unstoppable.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. We saw this fruit really utilized extremely well in, if you've checked out Rustage's One Piece D&D with the Devil's Luck pirates, it was like actually kind of cracked whenever, I won't get into too specific so you haven't checked it out, but go check it out, it's goated. But it's a devil fruit that gets implemented in one encounter specifically, and these two characters who are both inherently very powerful fuse together and literally just become like twice as powerful as, and it's cracked. It's like, it's really a good fruit, and I agree if it were utilized in a different, it's a lot of the fruits on my list are going to be very similar, where the fruits themselves are potentially busted, and they might have just like had like a plot nerf, and I think this is definitely a contender. Excellent choice.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody
Shout out
else?
to the doctor of the crew as well in the chat real quick. You know, our emergency food supply, Grand Line bound, baby, let's go. Tony, Smoky Chopper right there in the chat. Love you, brother.
Hell yeah. I was gonna say it's really interesting that you picked the gotcha as it's like the jacket fruit, but if you got like a whole bunch of yeah, I'm sorry.
Can I go through one stream without the jacket fruit being thrown in my face?
This is literally the stream where you knew this was gonna happen, Lucas. Don't even play coy. But
So are you telling me the jacket fruit isn't on your list, Lucas?
Oh my God, no.
speaking of lists though, Dill, while we got you, you want to give us your number 10 pick?
Yeah, my number 10 pick is the cook fruit, because while it may not produce good tasting food from inanimate objects, it still makes nutritional food.
Mm-hmm.
Think if Zeph would have had it whenever him and Sanji were stranded, he wouldn't have had to eat his legs. He would have been able to eat rocks.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. This is not even what I would have even thought to have put on my list. But for practical use, you're right. Like that's kind of cracked. Is it worth losing your ability to swim? Like, you know, probably.
Yeah, it would be worth losing the ability to swim.
Because we really do have to. Yeah, you really do have to think though, like in the world of One Piece where it's like 98% water, like that's like a bigger like thing than it is in our world. But yeah, I think infinite food hacks would definitely be, yeah, it's pretty cracked, not gonna lie. It's not like a combat oriented fruit, so some people are gonna rule it out immediately, but like I see the vision. I get you.
Yeah, I do too. Like you said, it's the practical use, because like Sanji abandoned on that rock with Zeph. I have yet to rank the cook fruit, but the practical sides are just thing, man. Like that's ultimate survival. As long as you can find shelter, you can live in almost any environment and survive because of that. Yeah, that's a goated pick. Also, boys, we just hit 100 subs while we were on the stream.
Huge.
Let's go.
We appreciate every single one of y'all.
I forgot.
Yes, we do. It's been a hard time since the rebrand, so we appreciate every single one of those subs. You guys are goated. Thank you.
At 101, we'll have Lucas sing a song on stream.
Oh my God.
So get an extra person, guys.
Wild.
I got this. Kube's mom has got it going on.
Wow. So.
Oh, Nami, thank you for praising Nami. I appreciate it.
Anybody else who?
Oh wait, whoa.
Anybody else have anything to say on the cook fruit? I think it's interesting because we real quick, like we see it in the hands of somebody who's like actually like a really skilled chef. We went over this at our chef stream a while back, So I feel like it's a bit redundant in his hands, and it might have been better showcased in some of those other situations, you know, the niche situations we're talking about. So yeah, I think it kind of got overlooked because of just who Streusen is. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Kube. Sorry.
No, I just said it's one of those fruits where, you know, I think it falls in the realm of the Ito Ito no Mi with the flamingo, that it doesn't look like a crazy fruit, but putting it to the right person as well, like the combat style of it could also be very advantage. Like, man, imagine Luffy has a partner that has that fruit. His
Bruh.
drawbacks of getting hungry in Gear 5 won't be
So
there
you're
anymore, you know what I
saying
mean?
so you're saying Streusen was who gave Luffy the food on Egghead? That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, I believe it's Wapol. I believe it's Wapol, but you know.
It was Frankie. Oda gave us three people who it could be. It's
We are
gotta
so
be
back.
Frankie.
We are so
actually,
back, yo.
there was a fourth
Yeah,
one.
we are.
There was a fourth one, but Wapol ate that fourth name. That's
No,
right.
he ate the fourth
I
one.
like that agenda, though. I like that agenda though, that Streusen is light speed, because that means that Big Mom wants food so fast that he became light speed to deliver it to her, which is crazy.
That's so funny to me. Oh my god. Yeah, Cube. What you got for us?
Okay, so this fruit, obviously, for anyone who loves anime and any mythology stuff, it makes sense because we only seen it briefly, but I just love because of its benefit that you can do with that fruit. And it's the Inu Inu no Mi model Kyobi no Kitsune Ketla Devon from the Blackbeard Pirates Devil fruit, which is obviously the you know, nine tails if you prefer, but the Kitsune mythical Zoan. And I just like that concept of illusion, you know, and anything that comes with the Kitsune, you know, being the trickster fox and everything. So I feel like it's a really interesting fruit. So ever since it's been introduced, I've been like waiting to see more of it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have really interesting theories on like what its awakening might be, which is one of the most interesting things for me, it being specifically it being a mythical Zoan, and those being like some of the craziest potential things. Like it's a really, really cool fruit. It's a strict upgrade, I feel like, to the Mane Mane, which was already a good fruit, and it could be even more cracked if we see it awakened. And so I love that fruit. It's a really solid pick, I would say.
Yeah, so do I. It's basically
there is something.
Like
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'll go. I'll go after. No, I'll go afterwards.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say it is like Vex said. It's just an upgraded version of the Mani Mani, and the uses of that in just a stealth capacity is insane. Like, we know that she touched Saturn, so will she appear as Saturn elsewhere in the world? It's like I said in my Devil Fruit ranking for the Mani Mani, I always say, you know, you can sneak up there on your friend and stab him in the back, or you could sleep with your friend's wife and stab her in the back. No. But like it's that element of stealth that really pushes not only this fruit but the Mani Mani up so much in standing, because any type of transformation power is goated. Like it's one of the most cracked powers in existence in all of fiction, in my opinion. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And I've always said that because we see NL mix his Devil Fruit with his observation hockey. And I've always said, if there's one type of hockey with that fruit, which is very lethal, would be to mix it with observation hockey, you know? Like, we don't know we've never seen like in post time skip stuff like what NL did, where he literally like created a new power system by mixing his mantra with his observation hockey being like God all knowing, like hearing thoughts from people. So I always said, dude, that could be like perfect. Like even Katakuri could get, you know, blown by a fake future or stuff like that. So it's like it has so much potential.
Yeah, it really does. I think that leaves us with Vex. What's your number 10?
Hell yeah. I just want a real quick shout out to some of these goats in the chat. And I put in the chat list of the ones that we've gone over so far. We did cover the gotcha, the cuckoo, I don't know how to say that, and the kitsune fruits. Next up is my number 10 pick, which is going to be I put mine in no particular order because like it really just depends on the day and the user and stuff and the matchup. But I'll go ahead and list one that I am pretty sure is one of the most cracked and one of the newer additions to some of my favorite devil fruits. Is actually also probably without a doubt my favorite one to say. It's the Nomi. I absolutely I love this devil fruit so much. It is so potentially cracked, and as somebody who I see myself as well as a lot of my peers in this community and things like that as steel traps, as people who just like don't forget things, and we just have this encyclopedic but like this brings it to a whole nother level, you know what I mean? And like it's just the potentialities and the practical use of it in our world as well as in the One Piece world are limitless, because through technology you can rival a lot of you can imitate devil fruits like we've seen with the pacifistas, mimicking like Logia powers with like the Pika Pika lasers and things like that. Like you can do infinite food hacks, you can do like there's so many different things you could do. The possibilities are absolutely cracked and limitless. The sky is not even the limit. We can go to straight to the moon and beyond. It's actually crazy. I love Vegapunk as a character, and this power is insane. It's just cracked.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I ranked the Nomi. Is that
isn't it fun? It's just fun to say.
It is so fun to say. Nomi. But is that even the practical use is immediately swept across the board, but the power side of it, I argued the point that because of how intelligent you are, you don't need the power because you can create the power. Just like we saw with Vegapunk.
Well, I mean,
you don't need to be the strongest man in the world because you can create things that can bat the strongest man in the world. You can create things that can bat these ancient weapons, replicate their power because you have that intelligence.
Aside from that,
Nomi is correct.
There's like, if with you retaining all of this information like effortlessly and flawlessly indefinitely, like you like think of like somebody who already has a decent battle IQ. If they were to eat this fruit, like you would just immediately memorize people's attack patterns without like you're never getting hit by the same like gambit twice. You know what I mean? So even in a battle capacity, it's still with the right user can be utilized like extremely well. Like you said with the Ito no Mi cube, how like you wouldn't think of it as something that would be like super cracked, but like in the right hands, it absolutely is. It just like, but even in like just a normal person's hands in our world, it's still so ridiculously goated.
Yeah, man, I won't lie. The head game with this fruit is crazy.
Pause.
Pause? Hey, yo!
I wanted to.
I had to.
You don't even need a head game with this fruit because you can remove that shit.
But yeah, I did want to make sure that we did get another one of our crew members submitting one of their lists. Does somebody want to read off one of Josh's, or I can real quick before we go another full round?
I have the list in front of me. So listen, I'll just take from down to up. Of so his first pick was the Ito no Mi, the string fruit, the flamingo's fruit.
Oh yeah, we're just talking about this.
Yeah, goated fruit.
We're just talking about this.
Fruit. It's legitimately, it's all down to the user. I don't think that there would be another user who could use it to the extent that Doflamingo does, because like who thinks I'm going to attach strings to clouds so I can fly? It goes back to what I said during the Gocha no Mi stuff. It's all about the imagination of the user, and the string fruit is one of those that you definitely have to have imagination to use it to its full capacity.
Yeah, I think that this one, as unassuming as it might be at face value, we got one of my personal favorite devil fruit users that was able to showcase it to us at its full potential and in an awakened state even. So like this was like, yes, like you said earlier, it's all about imagination, and some of these fruits can be a lot more cracked than how they are portrayed to us by Oda within the story. This was something I think was portrayed to its ultimate form, like the maximum degree of efficiency with this. Like Doflamingo is so cracked with this fruit, and like the fruit itself, I think it's a good fruit, it's versatile, but like I think that really came down to the user, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yo, shout out to Dak in the chat saying just wait till we get the Hito no Mi model Gaimon. We ain't ready. We aren't ready for that. That's crazy.
An afro?
Oh my god. But yeah,
We
Lucas said,
referencing Shiki a lot. I just watched Strong Roll.
baby no. I think that brings us to you,
Baby,
Lucas.
no. It does with my number 9. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. Actually, I might not. It's the Kumo no Mi model Rosa Miguel Grovagelli, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Gravagelli.
Gravagelli, yeah. So I wasn't that far off. But it is...
Oh, you saw them Black Maria.
Yeah, Black Maria's devil fruit. It is one of the only insects devil fruits that we've seen that is massive in the way that it is. Because the only other insect devil fruits we've really seen in the future, or in the series in the future, was the ones that the Tontadas had eaten. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I only chose this because, let's be real, big spider mommy, yummy yummy.
Stop. No.
No, I'm joking. It really is just such an interesting fruit to me. And the fact that that's not even the actual hybrid form of the fruit that we see in the series. We saw in an SBS where Oda had revealed what she would have looked like if she had not had Queen's modifications. And I'm going to be honest, the strength of this hybrid fruit has to be out of the charts because you have 8 arms that are like completely tangible to your control. Like, insane. But yeah, I really do enjoy just the design and the vibe of this devil fruit. And I would love to see more insect devil fruits in the series.
Yeah, I agree.
We got spiders on an insect, but I'll let it slide.
It's an arachnid, but it's close enough. But
oh my god, dude!
Well, there's a discrepancy.
Is it in the insect kingdom, Cube? Is it in the insect kingdom?
There is a discrepancy because Kumo means spider, and then the other ones are like the mushi, which means like bug or something like that. Because we get the Suzumabachi, which is the hornet, and then we get like the Kabuteri beetle or whatever, or like which those are like the two that the Tontada had. Both of which are 2 of the 6 devil fruits capable of granting the power of flight that we were told about in Alabasta. No, I'm kidding. But
you're not wrong though, because they do fly.
They literally say that. Yeah.
This is way more than that number now. In the
it's
series.
So funny. But so it is a different subcategory than insect, but I do think that because we see Onigumo, he's a vice admiral who has like 8 arms or whatever, and I don't know, I've always thought that he was really interesting. A lot of people, when they're scaling vice admirals, they're like, oh, Garp obviously top 1, but then Momonga's got to be one of the like, and then we get a lot more vice admirals here in Egghead recently. And that's like a thing, but like I've always thought Onigumo was like really cool because it's not confirmed that that's a devil fruit, but come on, it's like a devil, it's got to be a devil fruit, right?
I thought it was confirmed to be the spider.
I don't believe it is. He's just a dude, and
like,
it's
I
like,
might be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's
a one-off vice admiral.
Yeah, I think it's not confirmed, but it's like heavily speculated. But it's never stated anywhere like that he like legit has a devil fruit. We just all assumed. But yeah, just all of the Kumo fruits, I think that they're all just like really powerful. I love that like there's like so much different
he has
versatility.
A devil fruit, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, it's clearly got to be like a Kumo.
It's a bit like
it's got to be a Kumo.
We never got a name. Like Rouge, we never got the name of the fruit.
Yeah. We just know somewhat of its abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but these like spider type fruits like really do like intrigue me because like that would just like, as somebody who's worked in kitchens and restaurants for a really really long time, you know how valuable having those extra hands will be. And then we see like Hachin, you know, had like 8 sword style and shit like that, and like that's just like so cool because it's an interesting fighting technique and it's just practical. But it is from what I remember of Wano, we really just don't see much from her devil fruit outside of the fact that it's just there, you know.
And that's another reason why I like it so much though, is because of the speculation to it. There's a lot more from that fruit, and like I said, I really wish that we could get more. Yeah, and not just because I want her to come back.
Yeah, she got disrespected. That was crazy.
Yeah, she did.
But that brings us Dill. What you got at number 9, brother?
So this outside of the current user's hands can't be replicated what he can do with it, but it's still one of the most broken devil fruits, and that is of course the Op no Mi.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. You mean the ultimate devil fruit?
That's what it's called.
Yes, sir.
That's also on Josh's list, so that covers his number 9 right there also. So good shit.
Nice. It outside of Law's hands, like it would take a really, really skilled surgeon, but they still wouldn't be able to really use it in combat like he does because he has the backgrounds of both. It's kind of like the perfect fit for the devil fruit, which, I mean, I don't think I've heard people talk about Law having the perfect devil fruit for him, other than like,
yeah, I mean, he really does.
Yeah, keeping him alive. Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, well, I've always wondered if the Op no Mi, because its whole thing is operating, if it doesn't give you some base knowledge of surgery when you eat it. We would have to see how other users of the fruit handled the fruit itself, which we probably won't get.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested in to see if that is the case.
It mentioned that the previous user was also like a world famous doctor. So is that coincidence or maybe not, you know? So, but I do agree.
3 days.
I do agree. This is the perfect fruit for Law. And I've like, even if you didn't have this extensive knowledge, it's still a really good fruit. But because he knows all of the intricacies of like anatomy and physiology and things like that, like he's just able to take it to that awakened state. Like, you know, like it's like the string fruit is still a good fruit, but in the hands of Doflamingo, it's cracked. So same kind of situation here. But even like just like worst case scenario, this gets put into like somebody who doesn't know anything about like anatomy. It's still a really crazy powerful fruit, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. In terms of your question, Lucas, I think the Gorsi gave an answer that kind of made me think of something that was said in Harry Potter with it's the ones that would choose the wizards, and it kind of, you know, the devil fruit has been evading us. There might be a reason why Blackbeard said that it felt like just like the fruit was calling for him, and then Luffy naturally eating the fruit, not even knowing, just opening and start eating it, like he knew there was a fruit inside that treasure chest. It could be that, you know, people are drawn, you know, people who eat certain fruits are drawn because, you know, certain skills or certain curiosity, you know what I mean?
That also kind of goes into what we got in the Ace novel, where like 2 people took a bite at the same time. The fruit probably just chose Ace, you know, like because like I don't know, like that's obviously headcanon. There's nothing really I have to base that on, but like it did seem like a really solid fit, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Hey.
You're talking about Law and Fist? What?
I was talking about Ace.
Oh, sad now.
Yeah, stop. I gotta watch how much I talk about Law, you know, on streams. Like y'all know I could pop off, you know, but
oh yeah.
But really good pick, Dill. I think this I knew for a fact solid. I knew for a fact this was gonna be on somebody's list, and like I had to fight really hard not to put it on my own.
The prejudice fruit. What, Will?
Whoa.
Oh, he's saying the fruit is prejudice. Okay, I was like, whoa.
No, that's my devil fruit power. No, oh my god.
Oh my god.
So, anybody else have anything they want to say on the op fruit, the Ope no Mi?
Ope no Mi? Nah, I don't. I think I'm good.
Solid pick though. Kube.
Very, very solid.
Kube, what you got?
So, for my 9th pick, it is Baby Five's fruit, the Buki no Mi, which is, I've always said that this is the most like well balanced, you know, in the field fruit. You could be ready for anything. The type of weapon, and I think if you're creative like Luffy during battle, this could be a very fun, you know, fruit to watch fight. You know, the counters and everything. But yeah,
I think it's really sick. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Oh,
No, no you. No you.
No, you. No, you. No, you. A Midwestern nice off. Let's go.
Doctor. Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
But no, with the Buki, one thing that's really interesting about it is that like you have the ability with the artillery to turn into explosives, and you can literally explode, and it does not harm you at all. What I noticed with Baby 5 is unless they have really powerful hockey, you're not going to be able to crack the defenses of the Buki no Mi. Like, it is very, very much so that, like, as a bomb, you can explode into a million pieces and then just reassemble. It doesn't harm you. It's just the defensive capabilities along with the offensive capabilities.
Think of an awakening. Yeah, think of an awakening is another thing. And like it's also something that like made me question devil fruits as a whole, because everyone's assuming like, you know, we have evidence of devil fruit users existing in the Void Century with like Toki, and like obviously probably before even with like the existence of Nika at some point potentially way before that. And like without trying to get too crunchy or sweaty about it, like it's just, how did they have these guns and grenades and like bombs and stuff back then too? Or is it just like something that's based off of like what you already know as a user? And so like that goes into the imagination. And it's like, it's pseudo Gear 5, like, you know, like to a degree. It's just very focused, but like it's actually insane.
Imagine a Buki no Mi user seeing an ancient weapon and replicating it. Like, Jesus.
Exactly.
What were you saying, Cube?
I was going to say, it's a bit like the same question you have with, if you start analyzing Sugar's fruit, the toy she's created, some of them have tank's legs, and you're saying, whoa, was it that advanced? So yeah, it's like that big question of, some of the stuff seems to be way advanced for something that's supposed to be 800 years old, you know? Over 800 years old. So yeah, it's like, interesting questions.
It really is.
And I would love, I've always said that, because it's weapon, right? It's a very large spectrum. We've only seen, because most likely Baby 5 is all about artillery, right? They could be like a whole bracket of just martial artist styles of weapons, you know? Which that could be interesting.
Yeah, brass knuckles. She can turn into blades, like.
Well, so I think that it's limited to, because Buki specifically is a word that like, I think like, it's translated to arms in English, but I think Buki in Japanese is like something like a projectile. Like think like a shuriken or a kunai, like something like that is more of a ranged weapon as opposed to something that's meant to be used like in melee or something. To put it into like D&D terms, I could be wrong. I don't know the full like translations behind it, but I'm pretty sure it would be like projectile weapons is like the main kind of focus. But like I don't know. Like that's the thing is like, especially upon awakening, where do you draw the line? So many things could be a weapon.
Yeah.
Nuclear warhead mode. Like,
I would have loved if let's say that we saw the Buki in a flashback. Instead of having someone like Baby 5, imagine we see someone who fights similar to Mr. 1 that uses his own body, you know, as hand to hand, and you're like, ooh, that could be interesting, you know, the type of weapons that he could come up with his body.
Yeah.
So much potential with that fruit. This is one also of the fruits I would love to be in a flashback, a bit like Barker's fruit and Mr. 2's fruit, and seeing a different user using it, because that would be interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm. That would be very interesting. Go to pick, Cube. Go to pick.
I know, and I'm just kidding.
You're like, I know, I'm good.
Yeah, it's what I wouldn't have thought of myself, but now that you mention it, it's like, yeah, it is a really solid pick. Absolutely. Speaking of ones that I thought of myself, that's my segue into my entrant. I just mentioned this character, and I think that it is one of the biggest issues that I have with the One Piece story as a whole, is the underutilization of this devil fruit and this devil fruit user. And I think it is almost guaranteed we will see it again in some form or another, whether it's in a flashback or not. But this is the most, for me, the most universe shaping devil fruit. Like the story like completely changed when I learned about this devil fruit, and it is the Toki no Mi.
Yes,
this is ridiculous. Like the implications. When I remember when I was reading this chapter, my jaw was on the floor. This is ridiculous. This fruit is just potentially insanely powerful. Think about like future sight, you know, as a concept. Imagine just being able to like just I'm sorry, Deck just made me break character. Oh my god. But imagine if you're able to like, it's almost like Nightcrawler who's able to just like bamf a little bit. Imagine if you just travel a little bit into the future and like the world has rotated a little bit more, so you're like able to just like cut down on distance or something. Like it's, or like little things even in combat, it could be so ridiculous.
Brandon King, crazy enough, that is my honorable mention. I'm joking. But no, I said this in my Devil Fruit ranking of it because I gave it a 6 because we hadn't really seen that much of it out of the series because of the formula that I rank the fruits with. But with the Toki Toki no Mi, if you could master moving literally just 1 second into the future,
yep,
you'd be able to dodge attacks. You'd be able to make attacks. You'd be like, it would be insanely cracked how good in combat you could be. And not only that, but being able to send your opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't know if that's confirmed or not. If she can. Oh yeah, we do. What am I saying?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So it's.
But no, if you could send your opponent, like, you know, even 5 minutes into the future, you've avoided the entire battle.
What's like everyone always says like Batman versus Superman, and then like the argument is like, does Batman have prep time? You always have prep time, no matter who your matchup is. Like as long as you can lay a hand on them, which might even be something that like you can get around the whole like contact thing, maybe with an awakening. Who knows? Like the awakening of this fruit could be literally like universal. Like it's actually this is one of the most powerful devil fruits, I feel like, and it's such a shame that we did not get like a really proper showing from it. It's too powerful, so I think it was like so that the plot didn't get split in half, you know, entirely. You know, it's a smart move by Oda to get this out of the main focal point of the story, you know, as quickly as possible. But this is insane. This is actually an insane power, right?
I've said that while I was reading Wano at the time. Obviously, Kaido is a different threat, so they would have to handle themselves. But one of the ways of what do we do, Odin? Orochi is now Shogun. We have to fight him, or you corner him and you send him to the future and you wait for him when he comes back, and then you beat him up.
Like, yeah, all Toki had to do was get close to Kaido and Orochi. You could have just avoided this whole situation.
So the fact that Law said that his room doesn't work on both Kaido and Big Mom because they're hockey, I could see it because Toki not being able to set Kaido, but at least could have handled the whole who is the leader of Wano if you can get rid of the Shogun. For 20 years he's not here. Yeah. You deal with the Kaido thing, and when he comes back, Orochi, he doesn't have the control that
especially
he had after 20 years.
Especially in Wano, there could be like 25 different Samurai Jack type character archetypes that are just like waiting to hit the story because she sent them to these points in the future. You know, like it's insane to me, right?
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, man, it's such an interesting devil fruit because, like I said, also it's like the Kitsune fruit. And that we still haven't got a storyline with someone using his haki with his devil fruit the way NL did to that extreme to literally create your own special ability mixing both. Imagine what you could do with the
I think there's an argument
and observation haki.
I think there's an argument for Fujitora doing something similar or comparable, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's a good candidate, but just, the details that they showed in Skypeo. But again, I won't discredit because you're right. The way Fujitora was using his observation haki, plus with his devil fruit, the fact that, he was blind, does fall in that category.
Nak saying that's where Zoro's dad is crazy.
Oh, dude, that'd be hilarious.
If he got samurai, if he got samurai jacked and like got sent to the future, like that's it's so funny because people are like, oh yeah, well that could never happen. I'm like, well actually it could, because One Piece is like the whole universe has been completely what ifed. Like there's just Schrodinger's everything around every possible corner because this devil fruit exists, right? It's insane.
I'm just gonna say this. They've been saying that for some reason the fruits have been avoiding us, those kind of stuff, or even the information they couldn't find it. Toki could have been a good way for that information to disappear for 800 years as well. Like it's such a it's so interesting, this ability, and it could also play on the plot. Like we know Toki did many jumps. That's why I feel like this fruit entering the story was a game changer. A lot of the stuff with the prophecy starts to make more sense now. When you have someone that's taking for 800 years. Yeah, it's so
Chad is cracking me up.
Yeah, no, I'm not that crazy.
I could honestly.
Rose dad got sent to the future to get milk.
I could actually, like, I'm not even joking. I could probably do like a whole stream just on the Toki Toki no Mi and all of the implications and all of the potentials and things like that. That's not what you guys came for. You guys came for the top 10, you know, not just that one.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I had to, yeah, because since it is me next, I have to just say I had to limit my list to like certain factors because I'm the same way. Like I was like, I can't do this one because I'll go off way too hard. I can't do this one because I'll go off way too hard. So my number 8 choice, funnily enough, Brandon King. This is the last one that I chose off of just design and things of that nature, like I did with the Kumo. And it's the Tamo no Mi, or egg fruit, because I think it is the most inventive design zone type ever. Not only that, the defense capabilities are there, because if you get defeated in combat, you just resurrect as the next stage of the chicken. Like, that's peak Oda.
I think it's Tamo.
It is the most Oda. It's Tamo.
I don't think it is. This is on my list as well.
I think it is.
I love this fruit. Excellent choice.
Oh no, wait, Tamo is something else completely. You're right. It's Tama.
Yeah, but it's a goated. If you're not familiar, it's our boy Count Niwatori. Yeah, had the, I'm sorry, Baron Tamago used this. It's so goated. One of the best fruits that we got in
I
a
think
very
you mean Viscount Hiyako.
Okay. It's one of, in my opinion, it's one of the best fruits we got out of a very, very, very devil fruit heavy arc. We got so many in that arc.
Yes, sir. Like I said, it's just a cool design, man. It's so Oda-like as well. Like I said that just a moment ago, I know, but like I can't stress that enough. That like if Oda was like, I feel like if Oda had a devil fruit, he'd pick something like the Tama no Mi. Like he'd be like, I'd want to be an egg.
An egg in this trying time. I'm sorry.
An egg in these Would you like an egg in these trying times?
I like modal powers where you can be this, or this, and like it just having like the whole life cycle represented. It's like unlike any other Zoan that we've seen, and like there are very few Zoans that are just like really set apart from others. Like we've seen just a few aquatic like adjacent Zoans, like the axolotl, the fish, and then now the otter. But like this is an even more exclusive club. We haven't seen any other Zoans that are like this, like modal, outside of maybe arguably like Chopper's Hito, right? But like this is just such a cool design. I agree, it's on my list as well, so that'll take my next slot. But yeah, it's so goated, actually goated. Yeah,
agreed. Dak, I have to say, I don't know if it's on anyone's list, but the art fruit is definitely underrated. Dill, I believe that leads us back to you.
Yeah, for my number 8 pick, it was brought up earlier, but I figured I would let y'all cook on it, so that way I didn't have to as much. It is the Ito no Mi, aka the
let's go. I already said it. It's a goated fruit. It's a goated fruit, man. Yeah. It is such a cleverly used fruit as well.
Yeah. Imagine the Joker from Batman if he had that fruit. Right. Batman would have lost 20 times in a row.
I thought the Joker from Batman did have that fruit.
You're right. I forgot that storyline.
But yeah, I think that I'm loving all the Dot Flamingo like love, because it's such a great fruit, like just because it's versatile. It's like, and I love the foil between, or like the parallel there, like the through line with Luffy's fruit. We're led to believe that for the longest time that it's just some rubber power. It is just like some bouncy boy, right? And you find ways like Gear 2 and stuff to crack this like suite of, and although, you know, like obviously it's more than that now, Luffy doesn't really know that. So just being able to take this like simple power, like this simple concept and pull it to the nth degree. Doflamingo is also similar to that in that it's just strings. He's just a little string bean, but no, like he cracks it entirely. It's just such a good fruit.
I'm just wondering now, when you have a theory about the flamingo's fruit, do you call it string theory? Sorry, I had to.
You could, some might say. Huge. But we've already spit a good bit about it. Anything else you wanted to say on the string fruit, Dill?
No, honestly, that's why I was comfortable leaving it where it was, because y'all had touched on what I wanted to bring up for it. Like, outside of Doflamingo's hands, it's not that great of a fruit, but inside his hands, it's the devil fruit for him.
Excellent. Next up we got Kube. We're in the number 8 slot, right?
Yep. So this is an interesting fruit because ever since I read an SBS where I went deeper into the fruit, it changes so much how you see it. And it's Tsuru's fruit, the Washu Washu no Mi, which is the clean fruit. But it goes much further than that because it's also to be referred as the cleansing, because not only does it cleanse people, but it also cleans their heart. And I feel like a fruit like that in a store like One Piece, it's so much game changer. It for me it falls in the realms of like the Hito Ito no Mi. It's not the fruit that's cheated, but it's how the person uses it. And it does render the person like unable to move while they're being, dried. Pause.
I literally just had a theory pop into my head while you were talking about it. And I've known about the Wash Washu like for a long time. And I know how much you love this as a concept. But like we just got more information in the 10 questions and in the SBS recently with some tertiary material. And Fujitora being a war criminal, and there being specifically like an incident with a female with Ryokogyu, do you think before they were conscripted into the admiral position and drafted on that they had Tsuru wash these dudes so that they were like more trustworthy? Is that like a vetting process for the Marines potentially? Because we know she's an asset. You know what I mean? Like a huge asset to the Marines, like near Garp level.
Yes, sir.
That's so possible too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, think about this. Because we know Tsuru was with Sengoku and Garp and Tsuru. What it says is that their era is just compared to this one. It was just a crack trio. Is that, dude? Think of what she's able to do, what she's capable to do with fruit like that. When you add hockey to the mix, if you could cleanse stuff, like it's so interesting. It's such an interesting fruit. Yeah, I mean, I even think that certain Delph fruit abilities might not even work. Delph fruit abilities that affect another person's actions.
I had to walk away for a moment. Do you use the Washu Washu?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tsuru's fruit. Yeah.
It's a good fruit. It's good fruit. The aspect of cleaning the soul is just huge implications.
Yeah, and then like I don't know, with concepts like in other shonen or other like Norse adjacent like intellectual properties, which are obviously things that are going to be focused on a lot here in the Elbaf saga as we enter it. Something like the flying Nimbus, like in Dragon Ball, or like Mjolnir, like cleaning somebody's soul. Could it? You know what I mean? Like because only the pure of soul or pure of heart or whatever. Like it, like that's actually cracked. The more I think about it, the more I vibe with this fruit. Like I know you've been a big fan of this fruit for a while, but I see the vision.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely. And I've said this, especially how we've been seeing a lot of yokai / demonic vibe of Imu Nagorse at the Reverie. If there's one fruit that might have not be corrupted as easily as the rest, or affected as the rest, could be Tsuru's fruit. It's a good candidate for that.
Imu literally says like cleansing, like that's like literally part of their vocabulary as well. So you might be onto something. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's my pick.
We already covered my next pick because like I share the Tamatama on my list, Lucas. So that I think that brings us to Josh's. Let me look at Josh's list real quick.
If it's the Tama, go to dude. Like,
No, I'm looking at his list right now. So I mean, he put the Ito and the Ope. The next up on his list from the bottom is the Mera no Mi, which is, I believe this is the first Logia we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
It's the second one. Smoker was the first.
Who talked about
We haven't
Smoker?
talked about smokers. Who talked about smokers fruit?
No, okay. I thought you saw in story. Sorry,
No.
Sorry, I'm mistaken. I thought in story.
First one that we are talking about on
my
this
brain
stream.
my brain just activated. My brain just activated in One Piece. Historian.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's where his mind went, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire. But yeah, I think that the Mera is a really just Logias in general. I had to try to limit my list to away from, like, it could have just been Logias, honestly. You know,
Yeah, Logias are correct. Legitimately, with Flame fruit, one thing I'm really excited about it, because not only is it a very good practical fruit and obviously combative fruit, as we've seen Sabo, but something I'm really excited to see from it is the training that Sabo has done with it. Like, and we only got a brief instance of it when he attacked the Gorosei and Emu, but after what Oda said in his questions about it, Sabo, like, I keep going back to that answer for some reason, because it feels like he's telling us that Sabo has mastered this devil fruit or worked with it so much that he could. The theorist in me is in my head wants to say, like, you know, I think Sabo may be the first awakened Logia type we see in the series.
ooh, I don't know, man. With him getting it post time skip and very recently, and if we get if we don't see an awakening from some of these individuals who have like been confirmed to have had their fruit for a very long time, that might upset some people. But I mean, if Kaku could do it,
but if his brother's will is pushing him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's maybe it's because of that connection with the fruit from the prior user that will help him awaken it, and maybe that's why it's so hard to awaken Logias.
I've always said that Ace has only used the fire component to it. Sabo did play around with heating up his pipe in Dressrosa, so he's been doing more stuff. So yeah, but I would love for the Sabo thing that he can even create plasma like abilities with his fire.
Whoa.
With his
yeah,
flames,
that's
the
on some other
intervention of
shit.
Sad Debo. That is on some other shit.
Like, an awakening for a Logia could just mean so many things, and like, yeah, I think that for me, honestly, I think this is like near the bottom of the list of like the ones that I would expect to see awakening, just because he's so fresh with it. But yeah, you're right. Maybe it is like a culminative or a cumulative like effect, and because his brother had it, he just gets like that cheat code that he just, it's like speedrunner, like pro hacks, like you're just clipping through to like level 99 type shit. I don't know. Maybe
it's like the theory that Luffy, because his will finally like connected with the will of the devil fruit, that he was able to unlock the Nico form, which is also probably more than likely the will of Joy Boy or something akin to. So it makes me think that it's not just the components of the will of the devil fruit and the will of the user. It's the will of the devil fruit and whoever. I don't want to say the last user to awaken it, because obviously Ace had not awakened his devil fruit, but the user that connected with the fruit's will the most as well.
Yeah,
like
I get
Joy
that.
Boy and Nika, and that Nika fruit, and Luffy, and then Sabo and Ace, and the Mira.
And that could even go hand in hand with like Law and the previous user being like a great doctor.
Exactly, doctors.
So yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. It's so interesting that there's still so much we don't know about devil fruits, and we're still able to yap for hours about how cool they are. But I think that was a great entry on Josh's list, and then that brings us back to the captain. Number 7 slot, I believe.
It is the number 7 slot. And it is the Soro no Mi, or Soul fruit. This is kind of, in my opinion, like I know that they call Law's fruit the ultimate devil fruit. This is the actual ultimate devil fruit. The ability to take and create life on a whim is terrifying. Like, there's no other way to say it. It is terrifying. And not only that, but we know that it's tied to the user's emotions. So we know that Big Mom uses fear to be able to grab people's souls. But imagine someone using love to grab your soul, or something else to grab
Like
it.
the marrow,
That is
kind of.
like the marrow.
Yeah, I get you.
Like it's all about once again the imagination, the perspective of the fruit user. But I think this
Call it by
whole
its
fruit-
true name. Call it by its true name. I've said this for years. It's a life and death. It's a life and death fruit. It's more, like, dude, what you could do that fruit is just crazy. You could take
It is
someone's
crack-
lifespan
and
as well. Yeah, it's so
not only
crazy.
just taking their lifespan, like I said, the ability to create life in itself is something we've seen no other fruit have the capabilities to do.
There's a term in like Magic the Gathering, like a card game where you're able to just like cast this one spell and spit out just a ton of bodies onto the field, like a bunch of little a bunch of little critters to block with and stuff like that.
Little homies.
This is so like the whole homie aspect. This fruit makes you turn yourself and almost anything else that is susceptible to this fruit into an army in a can. You could just have a full army, available, and like I love it. I absolutely. This is also a fruit. Yeah, exactly. This is also a fruit that is on my list, and it's partially because I love Big Mom as a devil fruit user, but it's also just because this is one of the. I think, in all honesty, this because I put my list in no particular order, but if we're talking about sheer power level, I think this might be top 2 for me, if not top 1. It's probably in a contender for one of the single strongest devil fruits in the verse.
Agreed, 100%. And you know how I feel about Big Mom. Jokes aside about how
Pause, please don't.
I do. I think that she is not only one of the most powerful devil fruit powerful people in the entire verse, and I do not like the stance that a lot of the community takes on her because of that reason. They treat her kind of like a joke, but I'm gonna be real, guys. Luffy never defeated Big Mom. Come at me.
You're right.
And
You're totally right.
I think that her
Katakuri, who is a great, Katakuri foreshadowed that, dude. I'm sorry, man, but your girl's about to take a beating in the future by Luffy.
But she hasn't yet.
I said that. I want her to show up at Elbaf because Luffy promised her, hey, I'm gonna come kick your ass, and it still hasn't happened.
He said, "I'm gonna kick your ass up and down the new world." Is what I believe
up and down the new world.
What did you say, Dill? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying even Emu didn't want us to hear what Lucas was talking about for Big Mom.
It's so funny. But I could speak on this fruit and its potential like benefits. Like it's so cracked, and if anyone's trying to tell me that she isn't awakened, I'm terrified at what the concept of awakening could entail. But like seeing it, even
but
just
she
like
is. The evidence is right there, Vex. You affect the environment right around you when you awake. What are the homies? They are environment affected by the devil fruit.
Yeah, I mean,
the ability
I get
to make those inanimate objects living. That, in my opinion, that's the awakening.
Yeah, but we don't have confirmation. So there are still people who can say that she wasn't. And like I'm saying, if you're one of the people who believe she's not awakened, then what would even this awakening entail is crazy to me, right? But seeing it used by Mother Caramel in the flashback as well to create Pandora, the giants referred to it as a literal sun god. Seeing like her create Hera was terrifying. And then like, what was the other homie that she created on Roof Piece? The final one that was like
where she combines all three of them.
That was menacing. Misery is that what it's literally menacing. Yeah. That is so terrifying. That's one of the and it's like one of the strongest things we've seen in the verse, I think. Like, and
it took 2 awakened devil fruit users to take her down. It only took 1 to take down Kaido.
I don't know if that no comment, but yeah,
I'm just saying
it's apples and oranges, but I do love this fruit. I think that it's insane to think about, like, because like what if you were to put a soul into a poneglyph, or what if there already are, or something like there's like so much that like this fruit is busted. Like this fruit, like when we first got the details of this fruit and I wasn't all the way caught up in the series, I was like, is this the origin of life in the One Piece world? Like what's happening? Like how pivotal is this fruit? like for not just the future but the past of this story. Like, is this how devil fruits were created? Is this the first ever devil fruit or some shit like that? Like,
Yeah,
that's how
exactly.
cracked I got, like, theory crafting about this fruit, because it's like, I think it's on par with like as universe shaping potentially as the Toki Toki fruit, but I think it's just strictly more powerful.
Oh, I
You're
agree.
spitting.
I agree.
Because this could answer for certain parameters, which I've said, like sugar's fruit that is such, or Katakuri's fruit that is a dessert. Like there are some fruits that I said, I'm not saying the sword created them, it created those devil fruit powers, but the sword could be like one of the, a bit like the Powerpuff Girls, ingredient X. The sort of fruit might have been, like involved in some shape or form. So it's like it's a quite interesting fruit. And imagine if a mad scientist had Big Monster, because we know how long Big Mom has had it. Imagine if the Mads had it as well. Imagine how fast in science you could do having literally the soul fruit, giving life where there's no life. Oh, dude, great pick, man.
That is the fruit of a god of death, my friend.
Yeah, and it's
the
like,
god of life. Like it's insane.
If you're surrounded by a full civilization of people who are susceptible to this, like it's like a one tap effect. It's like Perona and Sugar are people who are just able to just one tap fools as long as they're susceptible, right? This is the same. It's another one of those. Not only is it like extremely powerful, broken, versatile, and all of these things in its own right, but like if you're like, and fear is what we've seen, so I'll use fear as an example. If you're afraid of the user, you'll just instantly lose no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just
and to
it's
expand that, it's
one tap.
It's not just fear. Yeah, it's not just fear, because Jinbei, like he said, did you think I would falter? It's not that you don't have to be afraid of her. You can be not afraid of somebody, and then they beat my ass, and then go right back to not being afraid of them. You know what I mean? So it's even a moment of indecision on how you feel about the they're using on you. That boom, they've got you. They get your soul.
Yeah, this is like
It's
against anyone but somebody with like pro tag energy. It's like basically just a one tap, and like even if you're you're able to just like single-handedly combat an army. This is crazy. This is like it's an insane fruit. I completely agree, and that'll be my number 7 entry as well, since I share that on my list. But that brings us to Dilberto.
So
Dilson.
for the number 7 pick, I have the one, the only, the Hana Hana no Mi.
Let's go.
It fills every aspect that you could want a fruit for. Reconnaissance, it does that. The ability to lay hands on people, it does that. The ability to provide yourself with a shield for a getaway, does that.
And you can fly for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is one of my favorite. Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments where it's like, you can fly, and she's like, for 5 seconds, and you just like, bro, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. But imagine if she trained that, right?
Yeah.
Like imagine if she trained with the wings. Like that'd be insane.
Well, there's been cover art, I believe, that kind of like insinuates that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like making a clone of yourself is insane. Like, yeah, this fruit's insane. It's absolutely busted. This was like the first devil fruit in the series for me, where when it was introduced, I went, I'm sorry, what? Because it was introduced so early. And it took me so long to wrap my head around this until I got to see it used in so many more cracked ways. Like, it's insane. Like, especially if you're able to utilize armament hockey, but we haven't technically canon seen that from Robin, the user. But like, because you do sustain damage from all of the like the new like blossom bits or whatever, like the new little hands or eyes or arms or whatever you're growing. You still take that damage, but like, shoot, if you had armament hockey, that's a non-issue, right? Like,
that's on my bingo card, and I'm gonna put it on my bingo card for next year too. Is Robin unlocking armament hockey?
The bingo piece.
The bingo piece is real.
Yeah, I love this fruit. Solid choice.
I do too. Hubert, that means it's your turn.
Yeah. So I changed my mind during the stream, so I put it back on my list because I've said this. This fruit before combat's real name, I'm gonna call it the Trojan horse fruit, which is base fruit, the Shiro no Mi.
Oh,
And this
I thought you were
is
gonna
a
say the jacket fruit.
Oh
I'm
no,
so
no.
upset, guys.
No.
Please, please,
Hashtag
and I
jacket
think this
jacket in
fruit-
chat, y'all.
please
This
don't
fruit-
hashtag jacket in chat.
And I've always speculated this fruit could even be one of the fruits that caused the Ancient Kingdom's downfall, of how it could change the tide. Dude, you can have the most powerful people without being seen, and you know what I mean. Like, look how what Beige did, and I find it so interesting. You know, the whole, you know, also for like secret meetings. There's so much potential with that fruit. It's such a great fruit, and I like how creative it is. You know, I think this is one of Oda's best creation in terms of of a fruit. You know, all rounded. I like the concept for it.
I completely agree. And this one's on my list as well. So
Yeah, no,
like,
yeah. So you could spit as well. You could spit as well at the same time. So no worries, man.
yeah, the Shiro has been, since it was introduced, one of my absolute favorites, because you could just like bro, the fact that you could be like a castle, you could have like you could like save like you could be like the safe harbor for any number of like people here who you're trying to protect, plus the fact that projectiles can like what we've seen from it used, it's absolutely insane. But from a just practical standpoint, can you imagine never having to pay a house note again? Just like never have to worry about property, never having to, this is like in a real life like scenario, this is top one for me. Like, I love this fruit because like you could just like can you imagine the kitchen in a castle? You probably got like 3 kitchens in that castle. I'm sorry, like from a combat standpoint, yes, it's busted. From a utility standpoint, the possibilities are nigh endless. But just looking at practicality in our world, not just in the One Piece world, this is sick. This is so good. And like I think it's like it's so underrated by a lot of people. So I really appreciate you bringing it up, Kube, because if you didn't, I was, you know.
Yeah, of course. And no, like I said, and this is one of those devil fruits where I am sure that it played a role in the Ancient Kingdom storyline with that final war, especially with how you think of how Whole Cake went down in terms of parallel. It's like it's so interesting, and we've just seen through Beige, like imagine next time we see Beige, he has this, the crocodile glow up, that Bellamy glow up of, the next time they see Luffy
is crazy.
the
Kaku glow up. That's what you gotta. That's the one. Yeah. That's him.
Yeah. Like the thing is that
Bro,
for some
awakened.
reason people who face or team up with Luffy in the past, when they come back, they have this new will, And again, let's say Beige is one of the best father in the story as well. So
completely
I would love
agree.
to see more of Beige.
Completely agree. But like it's like I was just talking about with the Soru is it's like an army in a can. And like you were saying with the Trojan horse aspect, like literally this is an army in a can. Like you could just like depending on like the prep time and the resources you have available to you, you could just like literally be sending waves after waves after waves of individual, or you could have just in like a nigh infinite amount of like without ever having to lift a finger yourself, just hundreds, thousands of projectiles emitting from you in any direction. This is so cracked.
Imagine you pull up in this fight, and we've seen I remember anime definitely. I don't remember if it was just added, but we've seen that the people inside can attack from inside the castle, and then it just gets bigger.
Exactly.
Imagine imagine you're hiding Kaido inside you. Pause.
Chill. Just chill.
Imagine, and then suddenly you see the flame clouds, then the massive dragon coming out. Like, dude, it's such a game changer. It can change the tide in any battle if you're smart. If you're really battle smart, dude. If your strategist mind, dude. The most powerful person will fall. The most powerful person even will fall. If you're smart about it.
Yeah,
Lucas, don't look at the chat. You might get an aneurysm.
I've seen it. I've already seen it.
On the Shiro, and so that's we had the Soru, and the Shiro, which were entrants on my list. So I'll just be sitting out for the next 2 rounds and just repping Josh as the next entrant. His is we mentioned it earlier with these like crazy 1-tap abilities. it wouldn't be a Josh list if he didn't, shout out to his main waifu. Next up is the horo fruit, or the hollow fruit, which is Perona's fruit. This is like I had to like really try to tell myself to not include any of these like one tap fruits except for like the Soru, because I think it's the best one of them all. But yeah, this fruit is sick. You get to astral project. You get to make people wish they were clams or whatever. Like, it's such a wild
fruits that give you flight, as mentioned in Alabasta.
Yeah. If you're keeping a tally, we've mentioned like at least 3 of those in this stream so far alone. But it's a really interesting fruit. The sheer, like we saw before the Straw Hats were even inside of the confines of Thriller Bark, there was a ghost that was like spying on them. There's like the island wide scale of reconnaissance, and like having these intangible like servants that just like follow your will and stuff like that. It's actually terrifying. And we had a versus, which was Bonnie versus Perona, Battle of the Pink-Haired Ladies, in the Eternal Dawn Discord, link in the description, not long ago. And it really like I had to like wrinkle my brain and try to think, like, because Bonnie's cracked. Bonnie's like really good too. She has a 1-tap ability also if you're susceptible to it. And like I just think that Perona's range of effect is so big. Like we've seen a few just ridiculously like wide range of effects with a few fruit. I think most notably the Giro, the Glare by Viola. Oda does not know how big a kilometer is. I'm convinced because of what he said, whether it was her effective range. But Perona's is up there. It's near the top as far as effective ranges go, right? Like that's insane.
Yeah, insane rate. And I agree. I don't think Oda knows how much a kilometer knows.
I love you, Oda. I hope nothing but the best for you. But that's insane. Like the sheer range of effect on some of these fruits.
Imagine if we see that fruit with someone who was from a different race, like a mink, a fishman, a lunarians, where those are races that had elemental abilities with their attacks. Like they're just lucky they faced someone who was a human.
One thing,
it's like,
one thing a lot of people forget about the horror Nomi too is that you can explode the nobodies.
Yeah.
Like,
you could definitely do
just
that.
Like explode the ghost. Yeah, it's cracked, man. It is, like you said, it's one of those, because all you gotta do is get somebody bummed out and then bombard them with bombs.
And if you can keep your actual form hidden and far enough away, you could be an island away. You could literally be like pretty much an island away and be able to affect people that have no way of potentially affecting you or even knowing where you're at. Like Dude. This is one of those Batman fruits, like with enough prep time, there's no shot. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Fake your death so no one's looking for you and only appear in your spectral form.
Yeah, like, this is wild.
It's a cracked fruit, man. Cracked fruit.
It really is.
Think of what Mihawk. Remember that we don't know what happened in Marineford, but we're suspect that Mihawk is mostly the one who sent the vision to Luffy, not Luffy using Future Sight. But that feat that Mihawk did to Luffy. Imagine if you could send your depression in someone's mind, like depress them from their mind. Like you don't even need to do an attack. You're that good with hockey as well. Like it has so much potential.
It really does. Plus, it's one of the 6 fruits that can. No, I'm kidding. But that sends us back to the captain, right?
Yes, sir. Next up, one of the 6 fruits that can give you life mentioned in Alabasta, the Zushi no Mi.
Oh my god. We're gonna ride this. We're gonna ride this bit all the way. Oh my god, this is hilarious.
It's a good bit. But yeah, Zushi. I think this is one of the most cracked devil fruits. And if I'm being honest, even though we've seen what Isho can do with it, I don't think we've seen it used to its full potential. Because he's used it to incapacitate people. But if you increase the pressure on a human body enough, think of what happened with the Ocean Gate sub. Like that's
Oh,
what's
wow.
gonna happen. Like you get the bins immediately, man. Like if you put enough pressure on them and then just release it all at once. Oh man, could you imagine?
Dude, imagine
It'd
if you
be
change.
devastating, and that's on top of all of the feats you can already do: lifting objects into the air, causing meteorites to crash out of space into the planet. That you were talking about range just now.
Yep.
That is the range of the solar system, basically.
Yeah, and like we've seen like one other fruit with like that kind of potential range is like Blackbeard, able to like crack tectonic plates at the bottom of the ocean. Like, so going like 10,000 down or 10,000 up, like it is an insane feat to be able to do something like that. So you're completely right. That is a what a phenomenal pick. Yeah, what a phenomenal pick. Like
it is a world destroying fruit.
Dude, we also saw it from someone who'd rather, affect his surroundings. But we saw with devil fruits, there's the better you are with your fruit, the more you can do with it. And this is obviously came from fairy tale where someone had that magic, but imagine you could change your own gravity to the point that you could change your speed to certain stuff compared to other people, Like you could change how you fight. If you're a master or martial artist with that fruit, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really good
thing. Like you were saying though, yeah, if you like decrease the gravity on yourself, just fraction, dude. Your movement through the atmosphere is going to be much faster than anything. Like, oh, dude. It's just so goated, man. It's such a good fruit, and it's used by my favorite admiral.
Absolutely.
Really? I thought it kind of was your favorite admiral.
Oh my goodness.
Listen here.
Major shout out to Kev DOG in the chat. Congrats on hitting 10K not long ago. But yeah, like he's riding the bit with us. He said all flying fruits are gonna crack the top 10, of course. I love
all 6 of them, yeah. 6 of the top 10 are gonna be those fruits.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't think it could be stated enough how ridiculous this power is, this fruit. And I'm loving all the representation for like really cracked paramecias. There's like the unassuming paramecias, like we were saying, with the like the Nomi and the Ito and like things like that. And then there's this where you're just like literally as soon as it's described to you, you're just like, oh no. Like whoa, no. Like, and being able to augment like your like with your hockey, like some of you, like I feel like I really do feel like his observation hockey is partially at the point where it is because of the use of his fruit as well, similar to NL's mantra with his fruit. So I will push that agenda until it's like confirmed otherwise. Like I totally believe that.
Yeah, it's insanely cracked. Hashtag Fujitora for Nakama. Let's go, Isho.
Oh man.
That's how the Sunny's going to be able to circumnavigate the globe so fastly again. Fujitori's
bruh. Wonderful pick.
Will baby doll.
Oh my goodness. Wonderful pick. Dill, what you got next for us?
Yeah, so for my number 6 position, I have the Sutsut fruit.
Huge.
One of the fruits mentioned in Alabasta that grants the user flight.
This is also on my list, so it looks like I'm just gonna be repping Josh for a fat minute here, y'all. Like...
So like y'all were talking about like implications. I think even inside or outside of Karasu's hands, the only thing that would make it any more cracked is in the hands of a person who understood that they were in a comic, because in some fashions that can be used to make ink. And if you have the base properties of being able to make ink in a comic book, you're able to warp the reality of the world.
Whoa.
And
oof. That is spicy, bro.
On Devil Fruit introduction of Karasu, he reached outside of the panel boxes.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane. Yeah, that's
correct.
I love Karasu as a Devil Fruit user. And this is my second favorite Logia, and it was one of the only 2 Logia I believe that I did include on my list. There's one that I do put above it, but this is for me the ultimate Logia. Just by the way that we've seen it being used, it's so crazy because there was like so many theories for a really long time. We didn't know if he was like a Zoan or if he was like a Logia or even some type of paramecia, and like with the colony style effect and being able to communicate through your soot, and like it's actually like silly like how versatile and potentially powerful this fruit is. And much like all Logias, this is, maybe it's just vibes based, but this is absolutely my second favorite Logia. Excellent pick.
And there was something obvious in the manga. It wasn't that clear, but what was interesting and recently in Egghead with the Reverie stuff is that there's also the component of similar to Robin's fruit, where you could extend, in which Kurasu wasn't there. But when Sabo was talking to that suit crow, it looks like he was talking directly to it, like it's like Dead and Mushi style.
Yeah.
So it has like potential, crazy potential.
He was grabbing the keys from Sabo while fighting two admirals. Yeah. Neck. Yeah. Cracked. It is a cracked fruit.
Makes sense that it was on Egghead. Makes sense that it was on Egghead. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah.
In a world of cracked fruits, become the world.
Plus, it's like the fact that this can grant you flight, and there's only 6 of those. Like, sheesh.
Yeah, bro. It puts you in a league of its own.
It's just literally above so many others, right? But I think that it's really interesting as well because it could have like a potential like tag team effect with somebody like the Maramara. Who could like, I mean, you could like produce soot yourself, but like just being able to like, maybe, I don't know, like the like when you think about like just matchups, like I don't know of any one like devil fruit power or even like hockey ability that is going to just be like a good matchup against this one. And that's kind of the issue with Logias, if like is hockey and like hard matchups. We've seen with NL, Luffy's just a hard counter, you know, to the Goro as a power suite, right? And then there's like people who like Fishman Karate can like kind of like bend the water in the air, or like Smoker was able to combat Ace's fire with like fight fire with fire type of situations, or like if you're able to like even negate oxygen somehow, like there's with
being able to burn fire.
It's actually ridiculous because a lot of these Logias just have like a hard counter built in the verse somewhere. What's the hard counter to this? It's just good.
I need to see more from it before I can even begin to contemplate accounting for it, which is crazy of a statement in and of itself.
Because we have such a good showing from it, you know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah.
Ooh. Will in the chat said Khalifa's fruit. The awa awa.
Somebody clipped that, but no,
that
I'm kidding.
That would be awa awa. That would be a good combatant, maybe, because it can wash away soot. Awa awa.
But yeah, I think that it's one of my absolute favorites. There is just one Logia that I put above it, but we'll get there later on, so stick around for that. That brings us to Kube. Huberto.
Okay. Yeah, so number
Hubari.
6. Yeah, so my number 6 is, and I've said this, it is, if I'm not, and I'm not underlining this, it's the most dangerous fruit if you're not careful. And we're so lucky that person is so isolated. And it's the Doku no Mi Magellan's fruit, the poison fruit, or the venom.
Venom. Yes, sir.
Venom.
Yes, sir. The only other
like
non-confirmed special paramecia type we've seen in the series. Yes.
I don't know about that, but
Dude, look how it moves. Look at
Look at that aura.
it's just a generative. It's just a generative paramecia, just like the wax. Like, but it's really good. Like, they're super cracked. I love these types of fruits. They are like, the implications of them is ridiculous. And again, it's like, I feel like it's kind of like imagination based, because he was able to produce a toxin, the Kinjite toxin, which can just like melt through stone, which is crazy. But like, if you didn't have as much of an intricate knowledge on things, I'm sure you couldn't do that just on whim. Like, it's like knowledge and then imagination based, right? So like, this is another one of those like very focused, like pseudo like Gear 5 type like of power suits where you could just kind of accomplish almost anything.
Dude, imagine if Usopp was able to get his hand on some of that venom to add with his artillery. It would be crazy. It's such a game changer in the whole science stuff. Yeah, dude, it would be crazy.
I think it's also just really cool, like what a goated choice for Oda to give representation to those with IBS. You know, we love Magellan, but
It wasn't the representation we needed.
my God.
We stand shitty men here.
And, so Brandon King just said that his number 6 pick is the Moshi Moshi no Mi Katakuri's fruit, which, you know, goated. I saw that. I had to give a shout out. It's a good pick.
That is a great pick, yeah.
Akainu lava versus Kinjite is insane. Can you guys even imagine? Like, because Magellan's acid was like literally liquefying stone, you know?
And I'm pretty sure that even if Akainu was able to melt his poison, it just becomes gas, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was going to bring up, Kube, is that then it's all airborne.
Oh no.
You got to worry about it.
Yeah, this is a sick fruit. And like, I think we did another versus. I don't remember what the matchup was, but like we did in the Eternal Dawn Discord, link in the description, we were like, it was someone matched up with Magellan, and I was just like, yo, Magellan is just cracked. He is one of the single most cracked individuals we got, even considering a lot of the individuals at Marineford. Obviously, I don't know if I put him like, you know, top 5 or 10 because there were just so many goats at Marineford, but dude bodied Luffy and the entire Blackbeard pirates. No sweat. Literally no sweat. The only his biggest weakness is his bowels. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
what's crazy is you brought up that matchup. It was actually Magellan versus Kawina, and Kawina won. I don't know how, but she did. No, I'm joking.
Wow. Now there's a lot of stairs in Impel Down. Where was
I mean, also, I'm going to say this.
They had to have protection against her in case she showed up.
Yeah, it was Down D Stairs' brother, Down D Steps.
Oh my goodness.
And
it's his stepbrother.
And there's one ability that fruit has that is just crazy if it's done right. Is imagine how annoying was it for Zoro to defeat Pika, and now it was just hard to find him. There's the Venom Road, which is basically when he goes full Venom, he can go from one side to his poison to another side.
Oh, the Hydra? Fast. Yeah, that shit is cracked. That is so good. It's cracked.
Like, what can you do? Like, imagine it's the same thing as Pika, but you cannot interact with that big wall of venom all around him. And he can move from one side to another. Dude, it's overwhelming. Oh, yeah, it's such a great fruit.
Really
good. Thank God he's an amazing fruit.
I always say that Magellan isn't protected for the world. The world is protected from Magellan. That's for sure.
Yeah, one of the only paramecia fruits that I ever gave a 10 out of. There was only a handful of them, and that was one of them.
Yeah,
it's Venomin time. I'm sorry.
It's Venomin time.
I'm reading the chat. It's cracking me up, man. Huge. Yeah, we love that. And then I think my next round was spoken for because. I think my next 2 rounds are still spoken for, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and skip me and get right over to Josh. His next entrant is a really unique one, and I think extremely underrated because it was really cracked. It's just, again, Luffy was the hard counter. But his next choice is the bis fruit, or the biscuit fruit. Like, this is Cracker's fruit, which is.
You guys know why they call him Cracker?
Stop. It's
he's white.
But the biscuit fruit is insane. Just being able to clap and like produce these like very durable clones. I believe they were like waterproof and like I don't know. It's disgusting. Like how. I don't know if it was just a really good user or if it was just a really good fruit or a combination, little column A, little column B. This fruit is This
Yeah.
fruit is sick. Like, this is a really good fruit. It can act as
Yeah,
armor.
one of the
You can
only-
make clones. You can obviously weaponize it. It's like an infinite food hack, like the cook fruit, right? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's he's one of the only Yonko commanders who doesn't have his picture on his bounty poster.
That's
Him
true.
and Frank.
And
Wow.
Finn,
And who?
King.
Well, King's got his mask on in it.
Dude, just saying this. If you're gluten intolerant, that fruit would be your worst enemy.
the gluten fruit. It's crazy.
Oh man, I hate biscuits. Like, no, I actually wasn't sure why he put this on there, but I think, like, obviously it does have its capabilities, like the multiplying of having a whole army at your disposal, which we
Yeah,
talked about earlier.
You're an army in a can.
But
yeah.
a lot of that is Cracker. A lot of that is the way that he is using the fruit. So unless you had some kind of training or the same thought process as Cracker, I don't think somebody would just pull it out of their hat to make an army of living Cracker soldiers.
Yeah. I mean, and also it fits the whole Big Mom being, Hansel and Gretel, and stuff storyline. So
Mhm. Exactly. It fit into the arc very well.
yeah.
The gluten fruit, no me mythical model, gluten squares.
Oh my god.
Listen, I think we should change it to the gluten cubes. Cube. It would
Oh my
work
goodness.
better, but
It's one of the 7 deadly sins is gluttony. I'm saying. There's nobody put boo in chat. Don't you dare. No, but I think this is a really underrated fruit. I respect his pick. I totally get it. It's not what I would put in my top 10 as far as favorites, but from versatility and survivability alone, like we were saying with the cook fruit, like being able to just have infinite food alone, that's kind of cool. But also just being able to like have instant armor, instant army, and just being able to like do all of these things. Yeah, you might not be super creative enough to do all of that, but you'll figure out something to make it like even if you're just like making little small mundane objects like Yayarosa, is like that's kind of a cool power, you know what I mean? Like
and think about this. All Blackbeard needed to do to capture Garp was to not take Pudding, take Cracker with him, have Cracker drop some crackers around, and then Garp would have come like a rat.
Oh, rice crackers. Like, let's go. Why didn't you say you could make cracker?
That's wild. That's actually wild. But yeah, so that's Josh's next pick, which brings us back over to the captain.
Yeah, we are in the top 5 now, boy. Now, I tricked you guys with this one, I'm not gonna lie, because in the Discord I just put Hito, but it's actually a distinct model of the Hito me, and it is the model Daibatsu. I think this is
I've heard of Daibutsu, but I never heard of Daibatsu.
Daibatsu.
No,
Daibutsu, whatever, dude.
He said whatever.
You know
dude.
what I was saying. Yeah, whatever, dude. You know what I'm
He
saying.
just rage quit.
Like Keiko, right?
Kaku.
Yeah, Kaku. Listen, that's Midwestern accent. Don't.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Sengoku's fruit knack. Yeah, it's just because it's one of the only other mythical Hito models we've seen. We have seen 3 in the series so far, potentially a 4th if Choppers is also a mythical model, like a lot of people will speculate. But it's one of the first ones we saw, and it's also a god fruit. It's a Buddha fruit.
Buddha.
Buddha.
So I think
not only that, I don't think we've seen the full capabilities of it. It's obviously got the gold plating, which is a form of defense, and it also enlarges the user. Other god fruit we've seen in the series as well. So it's very interesting. I'm really hoping.
you're cutting out a little bit, brother. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
No,
no.
we're
I was just saying it's
we're
very
hearing you well enough. Yeah, now.
okay. I was saying it's very interesting because it's one of those. I'd said that it was interesting because just like the other god fruit, the Nika fruit that we'd seen, it makes you gigantic. And with the gold, it kind of fits with what the Buddha is, to let go of your worldly possessions and be malleable to the world. The gold is one of the most malleable metals in the world. There's a lot of depth to it, and I'm really hoping we see more from it, because I don't think we even saw a fraction.
Yeah, I think what's so like I'm a little bit of pushback is I do not believe it is at all a god fruit, because Daibutsu refers to like just the statue and not like the actual. There's a different like word for like Buddha in like I believe, but like so it's just this. It's still really cracked, potentially just being a mythical Zoan. But I believe that there was an intention in Oda like choosing that word over like the other word for like the actual Buddha, if it were to be like a god, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But
that is theoretical in sense. So I do want to clarify.
There's another point that makes this fruit so game changer is, the Buddha not only being a spiritual guide, but in legends it is said that the Buddha, or even this is the Buddha statue, but in proxy is a being that is known to remember his past life. That's why he's so enlightened. So like in a story like One Piece, where one of the big mystery is a whole century was wiped out of history. It's like, it's quite interesting what that fruit has inside it. You know what I mean? We've seen people have some sort of information after eating a fruit. You know what I mean? Like certain understanding.
Yeah.
What do you understand with that fruit?
Exactly. And I really like that. Dak, you'll love this if you're still in chat. Is he's enlightened and he still has his afro.
Hell yeah.
And I goated. That is my number 5 from the top 5.
There was also I always found interesting, especially since we've seen a lot of Hito having elemental abilities. It would be quite interesting what you can have, especially with the gold component to the to the Daibutsu. So it's a very interesting fruit. Like to see more of it.
Yeah, I really want to see more of it. No, yeah, you're good.
I think that it's really interesting that like we got such a little showing from it, because like the shockwave effect is like, we could just kind of chalk that up to like hockey. Like also like we don't necessarily know if that was something of the fruit in and of itself. All we saw was a transformation, but we didn't get anything actually tangible from its like power suite, as far as like a concrete like, oh, this fruit can do this.
We don't even know if that's just the hybrid form.
Yeah,
and not the full form.
This was one that we got like a terrible showing from, but we can speculate it is just ridiculously cracked. We know that like after Roger's execution, Shiki reportedly stormed Marineford, and it took Garp and Sengoku. Like if he's like literally on the same battlefield with like Garp, which we've seen with Galaxy Impact and Galaxy Divide, like just like if you're throwing out like those level of attacks and whatnot, it's crazy. What could Marineford have been if Homeboy wasn't like, I'm gonna say the words, mental nerf, sorry, Rosie's using it.
Rosie, we love Rosie. It's okay. She's just telling us that the Daibutsu is correct. That is all it is. I believe that leads us to Mr. NoChillDill.
Yes,
as we crack the top 5.
My number 5 pick, I had to put them back to back because we're talking about busted Logias. So let's go ahead and throw the Magu up on the board.
Ooh, sorry, I hate this fruit. Like it doesn't make sense.
Either.
This fruit doesn't make sense to me, like scientifically. So I don't know. Not a fan.
Wait, sorry. Which one did you say? I was off for a second.
Okay.
Oh, the Mago. I can't. Oh yeah. The fruit that creates donuts. I forgot about that one.
Oh my god, that's its only feat, really. No, I get that it's powerful and it's stated to be one of the most like with a physical like offense capability or whatever. Like it's like one of the best. But like, man, I just don't like this fruit because scientifically it doesn't make sense.
Is that Treble's fruit?
No.
That's what Nax said in the chat. No, that's the no me.
I think it's the beta treble fruit, if I'm not mistaken.
No, the Magu Magu is why I was confused. I had to mute up for a second. Vex, did you say why it doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah. It shouldn't be able to burn fire. It like fire burns hotter than magma. Scientifically.
Does it?
Yes.
Molten
100%.
earth is cooler than fire?
Yes. So like the thing about like when you have something in a liquid state, it can only exist in a liquid state up until its vapor point, until it sublimes, and sublimation occurs at so like it can only get so hot as it would remain in liquid form and not turn into a gas. Whereas fire is already something that is sublimed. Fire on average can reach temperatures like I think at a baseline like over twice what magma is. Like again,
Nah,
this is
closer than what you're thinking, brother. I'm looking it up right now because I didn't know if you're right. You're correct. Like magma is like at its coolest, burning at 300 degrees. Fire at 977.
Yeah.
But at its hottest, it can get up to 2,730 degrees, and magma can only get up to 2,600.
And also, if you take into account that that's just for fire, but take into account that it's like Kuzan's fruit, he doesn't have the ice fruit, he has a cold fruit. It is not just a fire fruit, it's called the flame fruit. So it's like, I do understand what Vex is saying about,
Yeah, I get it now as well.
it just doesn't make
shouldn't
sense to me.
Be the quote unquote better version of the flame fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We thought Sublime so much. I don't practice Santeria.
Oh my god.
I ain't got no. Oh, we hit 101. I ain't got no place to bow.
Oh, he has to sing. Yeah, no. But like, I don't know. It's one of the Logias that makes the least amount of sense to me. But
I think
that's just me.
I think the most what we can go of until we get another more confirmation, it could most likely be of Oda's adding hockey to the mix. When in Marineford, he was putting hockey in a ways that he didn't introduce it yet, so he had to do it in a ways that it's not suspecting. So it could also
said Oda's such a noob.
I was about to read that too. I'm sorry, Dill. I didn't mean to derail you. Pop off. Spit about this choice of yours. I apologize. I just I'm not a fan of this fruit, but you state your case, man.
No, so outside of Otis himself stating that it's one of the most destructive capable fruits, paired on top of he's at the position of the highest power within the Marines outside of Kong himself, but he is the symbol of the current justice regime, so it's kind of amplified in that. But even
he's making Marines great again.
Outside of Akainu's hands, it still has the same capabilities. It's not like one of the special person to fruit. He might be, but just having that fruit in and of itself is still destructive levels of power. It's like even if Anel didn't eat the Goro, if anybody had ate the Goro, they could still replicate what Anel did.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's definitely a powerful fruit. And logic aside from our world, it is a fictional world. And if he wants magma to burn hotter than fire, but nonetheless, it's like I said, it's a powerful fruit. Oda has also stated that if Kainu right now went for, I think is what he said. So I get it, man. I get the choice. It's not one of my favorite fruits personally, but I get why someone would choose it, and it's a respectable choice to choose.
Dude, imagine we're not sure about what really went down in Podcaster, so let's say that it's not them. But if anyone awakens that fruit, dude, the floor is lava. Good luck, it's like Magellan. It's like Magellan's fruit.
The world is lava.
Yeah, it's like, dude, what are you gonna do when the very ground you're standing on is just you're gonna pull an Anakin on all of us. You know what I mean?
I loved you, Bananakin.
Star Wars. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I had to bring in Star Wars into this. Just for
it's over, Bananakin. I hate you.
Bro has the high ground up on up like behind his desk. No, like I think that's like never mind. I'm not gonna meme on Akainu this stream. Sorry guys. Kuso, no, you're not wrong. That's he has me laughing in the chat. Sorry. I think that brings us to
Kuso,
Cube.
that's out of pocket, brother.
Cube, what's cracking your top 5? What's next for you?
Okay. This fruit is for me because it's one of my favorite mythology creatures as well with the kitsune, and it's the Toritori no Mi model phoenix, and so that is Marco's fruit. And as we all know, what we've seen with it is we haven't seen the most powerful aspect to it, but I've said that the healing component to it is so a game changer. It kind of makes sense why in Marineford, the first thing they did with Whitebeard Pirates is they made sure that he couldn't turn into his bird. Like imagine you can heal constantly Whitebeard. Imagine what Whitebeard could have done if he kept being healed. So it's like I feel like we're all expecting with Mythical Zone this great power, like power force and stuff like that, you know. But when you think about the Phoenix fruit, it's like, dude, not only are you strong with it, it's one of the 5 fruits, air quotes, that can enable you to fly. But dude, you can help your allies. You can literally help your allies ridiculously.
Oh,
I agree.
you came out of nowhere with that. Sorry.
I thought he was gonna do it.
I did too, but he said 5 instead of 6. So off. Yeah, man.
Oh man, the whole top 5's got to be flying double
Okay.
fruits, right? Like, okay.
Okay.
But this is one that I chose to not put on my list because I love it and I think that it is really, really good. But I wanted to limit my list to just one mythical Zoan. So stick around to figure out what mine is. But Josh does have this on his list, so we'll go ahead and skip him this next go around.
Yeah, I like it aesthetically and power-wise. It's more of a defensive fruit than an offensive fruit because the flames can't attack. But it's a solid pick. Very respectable, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Marco's just a goat. I know Knack loves him in the chat.
Dude, imagine if Sanjay had it with his fighting style. Because since the one thing you don't need to turn is your legs, you need to turn your arms to be able to fly. Dude, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be cracked.
Imagine if we had to only put one flag fruit. Yeah, like imagine if we had that stipulation imposed. It wouldn't be a top 10.
Every Logia enters the chat.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a top 10 without it trying to represent as many of the 6 devil fruits that grant. I'm sorry. But yeah, this one is without. It doesn't even need to really be like it. So many people have stated how ridiculous this is. Like you have pseudo Logia, pseudo Paramecia, and obviously like Zoan traits all within one. This is, I feel like, one of the most perfect of the mythical Zoan typings to kind of slot into any kind of, like, before we knew what a mythical Zoan really entailed, and we didn't get a good showing from the Daibutsu when we were introduced to both of these. This left us wondering for such a long time, like, what to expect, because it can kind of be perceived as so many of these different things, you know.
Yeah, and before anyone says, well, you know, other mythical Zoan have done, no, look back at Marineford. It wasn't that Marco was getting the hits, it was going through his body like he was a Logia. So I see what Vex is saying. It's such an interesting fruit.
Well, I mean, he could just let it lop. He could literally just let it lop off his leg and then regrow it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's so it's like a pseudo Logia. Yeah, like in that kind of, it's insane. It's really, really good. Everything I love about the soot, the susu no mi, like this is like kind of that, but also more. So I completely agree. Plus, it gives you the ability to fly.
And there isn't that many in the story One Piece, apparently.
Yeah, there's not.
Told us by the great scholar Pell.
Yeah, so my number 5 was I am good and accounted for this round as well, and so is Josh, I believe. So that brings us back to the captain.
Yeah, listen, guys. My next few choices, they're fruits that I believe are legitimately cracked in the right hands. And first up in that is my number 4, which is the Sabi Sabi no Mi. or rust fruit. We saw this briefly, like very briefly, on Annie's lobby, with, I believe he's a Captain Chew.
Yep.
And he used it to destroy Zoro's katanas and rust Zoro's arm. And it's that rusting of the arm I want you guys to focus on there, because he only did that to the surface of his skin. If he had gotten into his DNA and rusted the DNA, it would literally oxidize. DNA causes the DNA to break down at a molecular level. He would literally just melt. It is one of the most cracked devil fruits, and all it takes is you got to use that imagination. Like I said, it's insane how cracked that devil fruit. Because not only are you destroying the environment around, but to be able to destroy a human body like that, just wild.
I agree. It's imagine if you release the rust user in Wano, dude, the menace you can be.
Bro, Will.
Yeah.
80% of the weapons just fall to it, just are useless against him.
Will said
Tetanus and lockjaw.
Yeah, everyone gets tetanus and lockjaw. That's so funny. I think like it's crazy thinking about like that, like rust is, so it's technically like a fungus, but it's also technically like iron oxide. It's like manipulating metal itself, which is like something we've only really seen from the Jiki. And like there's like arguments that other fruit might be able to accomplish this, right? But like and I mean, I guess like there's like turning yourself into a metal object like the buki, but like I wouldn't really count. This is in a league of its own. When you think about it, like there's very few other fruits that from a chemistry standpoint could ignite the whole atmosphere and like just end the planet. Oh, like if you knew what you were doing, like an awakening for this is like, we will never see it. And if it does, it's not going to actually be like quite what I think it could be, you know?
If you can rust things that are not supposed to be rust in Awakening, just say goodbye to the bridge and take a wolf. Just saying that and stuff like that. Like it's such a crazy fruit.
It legitimately is.
Yeah.
It really, really is. Kuso in the chat compared it to the Juku, which is the ripe fruit. Yeah, I see them as kind of one and the same, but with the ripe fruit, I feel like it's more about, it's less about destruction of whatever you're ripening, right? It's more about making it ripe, giving it the right amount of time, where the rustrous fruit is about eating away at. It's about destroying, just like iron oxide does.
Well,
it
then
weakens.
You have to also think that like iron oxide is ridiculously flammable, so this can just start to cause chain reactions, and like it is something that like you can still like run an electrical current. Like I wrote this into One Piece D&D. If you go check out the Scarlet Pirates in one of our earlier on like encounters over on my channel, link in the description, this fruit I had to nerf because it was I was just like, there's no way, like all of the things that I could think that it could possibly do, I don't want it to do. I did buff it a little bit from what we saw in specifically Annie's lobby, but like I didn't even get halfway to cracking this fruit because I was like, I gotta stop myself. Like it's really good.
Yeah.
The more you understand about it.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
Dude, I just thought of this, the fact that you make parallel with Juku. Obviously, the science not behind that, but you know how Oda in science, he just adds hockey and does make stuff that doesn't make sense. Imagine if there's a reversal to what Shinobu could do, where the rust fruit can make someone get older a bit. Just a thought that came to mind.
That'd be crazy.
But yeah, it's like it's a good pick. I won't lie.
Hell yeah!
I appreciate that. Sabi.
Next up, we got Dill. We're in what are we in, top 4 now? Top 5 now?
Yes, sir.
Top 4. Yeah. And for my number 4 pick, I have the one, the only, mentioned in Alabasta, light giving devil fruit. Actually, we haven't seen it be able to use to provide flight, but it's the Yami no Mi.
Oh wow!
Now where I thought you were going, my man.
This is crazy. Yeah. What a pick. Yeah, like this is definitely
Crack
one of
pick.
the end game fruits. So I figured we'd be seeing it on someone's list. But yeah, what a pick.
Yeah, because like even outside of what we've been shown, because Oda's intentionally not giving us the full effects of what Blackbeard can do with his fruit, but even the speculative side of what it does, it's the reason that he was able to eat Whitebeard's fruit.
Yes, sir. Potentially. Like,
That's like the speculative side.
yeah, I know. But it's cracked, man. I was saying something to Dak earlier in the chat that like we've only seen how it affects devil fruit, but what if not only that part of that is it affects hockey as well? Like we don't know. We don't know the extent of damage that this thing can do to you because we know Ace had hockey, and if he did, why didn't he use it when fighting Blackbeard after his fruit's power were taken?
Yeah.
There's so much to this fruit, and it's wild to me, man. Goated pick for a top 5.
Yeah, just the sheer
Thank you,
ability.
I did pick it.
Just the sheer ability to negate other people's devil fruit powers in that in of itself is insane. But then also having like hammer space, like having this like pocket dimension that you can just like pull things into and expel things. Just we saw like on Bonnaroo Island, this guy threw a whole town at Ace, which was insane, you know, like it's, and this was somebody who freshly had this fruit. It's actually terrifying to think, and I don't think we really saw like a full depiction of exactly what happened at Winter Island. It just like he used an attack and then boom, shit was over, you know what I mean? But like it's terrifying to think, you know.
It's like every time we got 2 seconds of him going into the Yami state, and then off panel, and then when we get back next time, the person is defeated. So definitely, and to add to it, I've always said that Ace then was not someone who was weak-willed compared to other people, and it does feel like there's a Piranha effect also on the users of, you know, the way that Ace was just lost his will to even, you know, almost live. He was just, you know, walking through execution, you know, gladly. Like I've said, this fruit can really be like, they might be like, you know, there's a reason why Blackbeard went after this one, you know what I mean?
Be like the opposite.
He looked at all the fruits in the encyclopedia, and that's the one he said I have to have.
Yeah, it could be like the opposite of Suru's. Like instead of cleansing, it like stains a soul or like makes a person like, you know, like then that same kind of like a speculative line of thinking. There's so much about this fruit that we don't know, but we do know it's an end game contender. Like this is absolutely one of those, you know.
And if you think of, you know, if Blackbeard is really that compatible with the fruit, it means that there's something that connects Blackbeard to that fruit. Him hearing the fruit just before he unalives Thatch could show the, you know, the darkness to that fruit as well. Like it's you know, it goes after dark heart. So yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, this is sick.
I thought it that way. That's a really good pick, Dill.
Yeah, goated, brother.
I'm just also loving any pick that isn't a pick that's already on my list, so I'll possibly be able to spit one next round, this round. But next up we got Kube, number 4 pick.
Okay, so the 4th pick is he was the first Loga I really loved, and I feel like because it has so much capability, he is the GOAT. The man who had that power was able to create one great organization and one new one. He's connected to Buggy the Clown, the next king of the world, and that is the Suna no Mi Crocodile Zero fruit.
It also
that fruit
gives you the ability to fly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as well. No, dude, I just feel like the sand ability is cool, but I think that the ability to just remove moisture as well is crazy. It's such an interesting fruit.
Yeah, I think this was a fruit that, like I said before, it was showcased too early to the story and kind of got plot nerfed. This is cracked. This is insane. Yeah. Like I love this fruit. I completely agree. I was thinking about putting it on my list, but again, my list could have been like kind of all Logias, so I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I just like it, and also like we did see crocodile use it in an environment that had all desert, so it's like it would be cool to see, you know, what you can do in an environment that's not just all desert, you know, because I think it's one of those logias as well that, you know, in such an environment, it will, you know, there's two components, the sand and the absorbing moisture. What happens, and we saw him impel down, like dude was just going through doors with his ability. It was like, that was crazy. I said, dude, that's such a unique, such a great logia.
Yeah, I think
You're
it's
not limited.
It's like it's interesting too, because the capabilities only increase the further away from sea level you get. You know, because like that's your main. Not only are you like weak to it like a normal devil fruit, you're like quadruple weak to it, like in Pokemon terms, like as far as water, like any form of moisture or water. But like when you get up there and the atmosphere starts to get thinner and you're further away from your natural like quadruple weakness, like it's, can you imagine, you know, like this person at the top of the red line or something, like where you're even above cloud levels, like this is sick.
I'm just saying, Luffy would be good that he finds an agreement with Crocodile, because if Luffy has to stop a flooding, Crocodile's fruit can come in clutch for in certain flooding situation, you know.
Yo, Kuso just asked a crazy question in chat. It said,
Yeah,
by the way, is Lasso immortal? That's crazy. Yeah, if you're an object devil fruit, you know, like thing, and you get like a Zoan, do you get like the life expectancy of the Zoan, like whatever the Zoan is, or like are you just like?
It's a good question, because yeah, it's a gun that became a dog. So I've been thinking about it. I said, dude, that's a
what's
good question.
Immortality in dog years is hilarious, but that's what a great question in the middle of a devil fruit centric stream. Wonderful.
That could be a whole stream.
Honestly, I'm surprised that's not already a teching video. It might actually be. Go consult Teching 101. He might have already discussed that in length. But yeah, next up, I'll go ahead and spit, since we're talking about Logias, I'll talk about my number one Logia, my absolute favorite Logia in the entire series. And when you want to talk about plot nerf, this is the number one, like the number one most plot nerfed devil fruit in my opinion, and that is the Gasu no Mi, utilized by both Caesar Clown and Gangster Gastino. And it can also grant you the power of, no, I'm sorry. So this fruit is ridiculous, on the same kind of wavelength that Lucas was going for with the chemical like component element here. This is an entire state of matter that is represented within one devil fruit. This is not even like just vibes based, but just like thinking about like physics in general. And I know like this isn't this world has hammer space and toon force and stuff like that, so real world physics doesn't completely translate into the world of One Piece, but like this fruit is insane. The things that you could do with this fruit are actually limitless. Just when you want to talk about one tap effects, you could just pull the oxygen out of somebody's lungs. When you talk about like, you could just ignite like it's, I literally could spend a full stream talking about how ridiculous this fruit concept is, and Oda should never have made it. And the only reason why it isn't universe break, like literally universe breaking, is because like legitimately it was just introduced like before even the halfway point of the story, we can presume, you know, at this point. So it was introduced too early, and its user is one of its users, because Gangster Gastino is the GOAT, but one of its users is just like completely incompetent when it comes to thinking of how to crack this fruit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, why cause a buster call when you can just, you know, change the air and just have people just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Carbon monoxide type of effect, where just people like, oh, I'm feeling a bit sleepy, let me sleep a bit.
Well, even if you like, if you change the atmosphere and like introduce elements like above an island, you could just create a whole nother Raijin Island incident. Let me just so many other devil fruit powers, specifically Logia powers, are spammable and like repeatable and like recreatable like through this one Logia if you're smart enough, if you're creative enough.
I mean, this could also give the answer of how can Vegapunk, which are his personality trait, could work for so long with Caesar Clown. This could be the answer. If you have a constant source of, and like you said, it's not just it's not an element, it's a state of matter.
Yeah. So like the way that I kind of see this is basically like a Logia type of fruit, because you can do almost anything else almost any other Logia can do with this fruit. If you like there's very few exceptions in my opinion, but through the chemical like reaction and like spawning certain elements and things like that, utilizing an entire state of matter is one of the most cracked powers. I put this right up there with the soul fruit as potentially the single standalone strongest devil fruits there are. But again, you do have to have the know-how, like the ope to get the full bang for your buck out of this fruit. So I think I might put the soul fruit just a little bit ahead of it, but it's up there. It's cataclysmic, like in scale, honestly.
Yeah, the Gasu is extremely peak. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to like keep muting and unmuting for a little bit, boys.
No, you're good.
But yeah, that's what I got, and I'll go ahead and spit Josh's next one. His number 4, I'm trying to keep count here. Okay, so he already did that. Okay, we'll go ahead and knock out one more mythical Zoan. And this one is an absolute goated pick, and I don't think there really needs to be much said about it because it got a ridiculously good showing in the story. But he put the Uo Uo no Mi mythical model Seiryu, or the fish fruit mythical model Azure Dragon. This is Kaido's devil fruit. It's absolutely busted. I don't think there's really much more that needs to be said. This was one of the best showings we got in the whole series.
I mean, I'm gonna say this, and also we're not sure the name, but you could also say Momo's fruit. But I've said this: if there's one fruit that if the devil fruit exists in the real world, anyone who would eat that fruit would be on a watch list in every country. I'm sorry, no one would let you roam free with that fruit like that.
Yeah.
It's so.
Dude was blasting mountains off the maps. Like, dude was lifting islands up out of the and yeah, you can fly. Holy
you can
shit!
Also breathe you could breathe underwater because of the fish component. Like, dude, it's like.
Yeah, this is a disgustingly powerful fruit, and I hope we get to see the other auspicious beasts, like the guardian spirit, like devil fruit. So I hope we get like the Suzaku, Genbu, and Byakko. And even like the one in the middle, which is like called like Fanglong or like Quinlong or something. There's different names for them because they're across different cultures. They're referred to it differently. But like I really hope we get to see more than just the Seiryu, because that would be so cool. But yeah, this fruit's busted. Like that's just it, man. It's just disgustingly powerful.
Yeah.
I believe I'm next.
I believe so.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said my name. Yeah, you're next.
So to continue the trend, I know Josh just interrupted it with the Azure Dragon, goated pick, by the way, amazing devil fruit. But to go with Logias that were nerfed because of their placement in the series, I'm going with the Moku no Mi. Or
Let's go.
It's one of my favorite devil fruits of all time. I do not think that Smoker uses it properly at all. There are so many possibilities of this devil fruit. Not only that, with the added intangibility of being a Logia, but being a smoke Logia specifically, my man could infiltrate anything, and he doesn't. Spread himself thin, get into people's lungs, corrode them. Like the potential of the Moku is insane, and I want to see it used to its full potential in the series.
I mean,
what if its full potential is essentially the jacket fruit?
Listen here.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna say this, and if anyone saw Legend of Korra, Smoker could pull a zero on some people.
Well, I mean, yeah. I love this pick because
that's my thought exactly.
Yeah, I love this pick because it's essentially like for some of the same reasons that I love the Gasu, I just think that the Gasu is just a strict upgrade to this, honestly. But it is a really solid like suite of powers.
Agreed. I think I wanted to spit on the Gasu, but I couldn't at the moment. I agree completely. The Gasu is just, it's on a whole nother level than every other single Logia. The Moku Moku.
Hell yeah. All right, Dill, I think you are. Oh, go ahead, Kube.
No, I was just gonna. Last time I was gonna say it's also one of the Logias where you can. It's easier not to be lethal with it, you know, since its main thing is not to be lethal. But if you're really good at it, then you can become lethal. So I was like, yeah, let's go. Dill.
One of the more passive Logias.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dill. What's your where are we in top 3 now? Is that what we're in?
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah. So for my number 3 pick and my only Zoan on the list, also the only mythical Zoan on my list, it is the Gomu Gomu no Mi, aka the Hito Hito mythical model Sun God Nika.
Huge.
And I know this is going to be on a lot of people's list because it really is just the everything fruit. Like, even more so than the Op fruit, which we've seen it being able to replicate other devil fruit abilities. We've seen Luffy do stuff that's not even possible in the world he's in.
Yeah, this is cracked. You got Toon Force, you got Hammer Space, you got like Toon World, you got like as long as you can, yeah, as long as you can keep eating, you can do anything. Anything, like what quote, go ahead and quote Willie Karen, you know, or whatever his name is.
Think about this,
Anything
right?
is possible in reality.
Yeah.
You know, and we all know that the reason why the Goros have been trying to get to that fruit is basically they've been trying to avoid child care, and they thought if they had that fruit, you know, but instead that fruit was evading them, you know. It's like such a crazy fruit. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, it grants you the power of flight. Like, I mean, like Luffy could literally just fly around, zip around, and do whatever, like in like Gear 4, Gear 5 mode, right?
Yeah, but dude, yeah. I mean, it's been very. I suspect for a while as well, but other people have said that it's weird Luffy's ability to stay much higher in the skies than other people. So yeah, you know, so I could see it as well as a. I mean, after what we got in one, like we've it's the only fruit we've seen as much as we saw in this. We even got a training arc with that fruit with Luffy. You know what I mean? Like, but after Wano, someone just saying, "Oh, I don't like that fruit," is crazy. It might not be your favorite fruit, but dude, it's the fruit. It's at least one of the fruits of this whole story. So,
yeah, and I will go ahead and say as well, this is an entrant on Joshua Victor, our musicians list, so we'll go ahead and skip him for the next round. But yeah, it's a ridiculously solid choice. It's the protagonist, you know, armor that you know that Luffy adorns. But it's sick. It's like it's obviously endgame, like Will said in the chat. It's obviously the realest of deals, and you know, through the whole, regardless of speculation, just from what we've seen alone. But there's so much more like that could possibly be revealed with the whole like Drums of Liberation aspect, and like maybe like his downsides go away, like we've seen with previous gears and things like that before. Maybe his effective range increases and he's going to be able to do like a Toon World type of thing instead of just the rooftop on Onigashima. It's possibilities are limitless, literally completely unending, as long as Luffy can imagine it. It's busted. It's the definition of busted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it gets more busted, honestly, but maybe Oda will show us that, or maybe we'll have some more busted entrances in our other top 3s.
Some could even claim that it's one of the most ridiculous power in the world, you know.
Yeah, some people who would do that. But yeah,
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, maybe. Is that plagiarism? What but that brings us to Cube's top 3, right?
It was Pythagoras who said that. I'm just kidding. Okay, so we're gonna get into the top 3. So this is so ever since that fruit was introduced to me in the story, it came in a specific way. I said to myself, if this is one of the fruits I need to have, and we made jokes about flying fruits. If there's one fruit that should be the flying fruit, it is this one, the Fuafua no Mi, the levitation fruit, floating fruit, Shiki's fruit. That recently some people in the Discord has seen Strong World.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you can lift up islands, not the way Kaido did. Like literally, like he had a chain of islands around him.
A full archipelago. I don't know, we could not hear you at all, Lucas. But yeah, like it's
But I couldn't hear.
I'm sorry, what?
What?
So yeah, we did a watch party of Strong World recently in the Eternal Dawn Discord server. I have to say it, link in the description, but it was so great seeing it and experiencing, like I've seen it a few times, but experiencing it vicariously again, like the first time through some of the goated crew members here. And like this fruit is so busted. The things that Shiki is able to do, and yeah, it's not canon in that movie, but like the things that this man is able to do, no one will ever convince me that Shiki is not Yonko level. Yeah, you're gonna, like, people could be like, oh, but like he got taken out by a pre-time skip, Straw Hats, and like, because it wasn't just Luffy, it was the whole crew. But like, it was plot. It was a full, like, a force of nature had to be utilized, you know, in order for this to be even possible. There was not a scratch on this man. This dude is crazy, insane, and this fruit is ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying, it's if you're a really, really great fighter, this fruit is crazy. And yes, you cannot levitate yourself, but Shiki showed in Strong World there are loopholes. And since episode 0 is canon, the whole thing of cutting, removing my legs and putting swords so I can fly now is canon. So it's like, it is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Like, if there's one flying fruit, this is the one for me.
Well, and then like Oda had said in an interview a long time ago, he doesn't want to give many people, especially not the main crew, the power of flight, because it's supposed to be about sailing the seas, and that just kind of defeats the purpose. Like, there's so much about this world that was set up at sea level, at the ground floor here, where like in order for the Straw Hats to have to like punch up above and like climb up and like work their way, you know, to, we're assuming, wherever the final war is going to take place. Some people think maybe at Marie Joie or like at like Laugh Tale or something, but regardless, like, we're constantly like, there's so many things that are just trivialized in this world that are just not near insurmountable obstacles. If you don't have the power of flight, they're nothing. If you do have the power of flight, they're just completely dog walked.
And
it's crazy.
I have one of my favorite theories. I've always said that we don't know how the people from Wano 50 years ago went to the other side of the world, East Blue, for people who've never left and were able to sail there. I said, why did they never sail there? Because we have a good indication that most likely Shiki is from Wano. So that could be also an answer of how some people from Wano just found themselves on the other side of the world. It's like, it's one of my agendas. But yeah, like I said,
it's not canon, but that could be why he was trying to destroy the East Blue as well. Shimotsky Village is in the East Blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
oh, I mean, in the movie, I believe it was stated he just wanted to do it because he couldn't stand Roger, and that's where Roger was from. He called it the weakest sea. But yeah, like, it's I can't wait for Shiki to come into the actual canon of the story, and it will happen. Yeah. Shiki stocks are only going to go up, y'all.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I said, it's a very rare that a non-canon fruit that I like it this much. Even think about this, we haven't had anything since Strong World, and I still love it as Strong. It's it aged well in the story.
For sure. 100% agree. Well, hell yeah. I think that brings me to my top 3, right?
Yep.
Let me just go through again. Yeah, okay. I'll go ahead and list another movie fruit. This one is non-canon. but is one of my absolute favorite. The implications of this thing existing just kind of really warp the universe. It's like a whole nother power system kind of within the universe, and that is the Raki no Mi, or the luck fruit. If luck is if luck is something, if luck is something tangible in this universe and something that is quantifiable to the point where it can be depleted and increased by this user, that's literally an entire another power system in one piece effectively. Like it's like a whole nother, like it's like in RPGs you have your strength stat, your defense, your HP, and you got a luck stat. And the luck stat, like there's entire like manhwa and like light novels and stuff where like the whole thing this person has going for them is the luck. And it's like we see, you know, certain goated characters who will one day become the god of all pirates, you know, just constantly falling upwards. And, you know, some people can replicate that by luck, but this guy just does it by being the absolute goat. But you could replicate like Buggy's trajectory if you were lucky enough, right?
If you're lucky enough, if you can't replicate a god.
I mean,
The
hear
power
me
of a
out.
god is too much for any man.
Hear me out. What if Buggy actually had the luck fruit aided canon-wise in the story, and the reason why he has 2 fruits is because he was lucky to survive?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But this is, and plus Baccarat is her.
Yo, hold
My
up.
God. Like that.
That is insane.
No.
That is
No.
insane.
No, we're not going there. But yeah, this fruit is stupid. This fruit is like absolutely cracked. It's like one of those one tap type abilities. Because if someone just steals your luck and then gives it all to themselves, you can't touch them. You just like your attacks are just going to constantly miss, and like they'll probably backfire on you. I don't have to take you out. I just have to tap you on the shoulder, and then like it's game over. This fruit was so cool, and I would love to see this in the canon. But again, it's like verse warping, so I don't think we will ever see it in the canon. But yeah, it was a really, really good showing. I love this fruit. I'm kind of glad it's not canon, because geez, what a world we'd be like seeing, you know, if it was. But yeah, this is my pick for top 3, first entrant in top 3. We got one of Josh's already, so we're gonna skip right back over to the captain. Top 2.
This is gonna be a sleeper hit. I know. It's the Doa no Mi, or Door fruit. This is another case where I think the user uses it good enough, but this fruit is cracked. You can create your own universe, basically, like an entire different dimension within the realm that you're already in, a pocket dimension, if you will. That in itself puts this fruit like way up there, but the ability in combat to make your opponent's limbs and other body parts and stuff and vestiges into doors is just insane. Like, I feel like in the right hands, like give this to Doflamingo, you're gonna have such a large scale problem on your hand.
Oh yeah.
Like it's one of those fruits that was nerfed by plot, but I don't think also I think it's one of the fruits that people don't realize just how cracked it actually is. And I wish we saw more of it in the story. We got some of it again in film Red, which we see a very good use for it, where he pulls other people into the door and keeps a lot of people safe and stuff like that. But I want to see more of its power capabilities in the series.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what's... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, we are getting some weird storyline with Kaku and Rob Lucci. They're coming back. They came back last arc, where we don't know where they're going with it. Like, if there's at one point something happens to Cypherpole where some of them might be fighting on the side of the Straw Hat at one point, having a fruit like that would enable like people to get into the red line or through the red line, or even get through Marijoa without going through the front door. Like, I mean, there's so crazy potential with this with fruit.
At the bare minimum of the usage of this fruit, literally the most basic application, it's like a level 5 spell in D&D or something, like Dimension Door. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's really powerful.
If you're dexterous enough, you will never fall in the ocean if you have this fruit. Because the minute before you fall into the ocean, you can open a door in the air.
It's like a portal. You know, it's literally it's so cracked. Yeah, you're right. It does require a little bit of like an activation of you having to like open the door, right? But like that's fine. I think that's a great trade-off.
Like
Yeah.
all you have to do is train, man, to kick or punch a door open. Like that's why I'm saying, like, if Blue Note took the time to actually practice and utilize his devil fruit in the capabilities that it could potentially have, like, dude, it'd be over for a lot of the verse.
Yeah, I think this is just I'm loving these like seemingly harmless paramecia that are just fully crackable. So this is a great entry.
Exactly. Like, think about like this: you could open a door underneath your opponent, and as they're falling, open up another door, and boom, they're into the ocean. Because you control that space that they're falling into. Like, it's
you know how that doesn't work though, is if they have one of the 6 devil fruit that give you the power of flight.
I was fully invested. I was like, how, please? I want
How?
to know.
Yeah, how? Got him.
Give me a defense for this.
I mean, and if I'm not
So
mistaken, the size of the door could be manuable. It's not just one size.
Exactly.
Why, if you have to hide the root poneglyph, why move? You don't need to move them. Just make them fall through another door and change location.
Exactly. Think about, like, saying that. Look at what he did to Luffy. He made his whole head 3 separate doors that swung independently.
Yeah, that was rough. That's like some that's like some Junji Ito, like Salvador Dali type shit. Like that was crazy.
Right there. Yeah, like but yeah, that is my number 2 pick.
Hell yeah, brother Dill. Oh, you just had you said you were good. Oh no, you weren't gonna include that on your list. You were just riffing off of what I was saying with the lucky fruit, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. In terms of like destroying an entire power system and by replacing it with another one, yeah.
But no, what you got at number 2 though?
Oh, you got massive hockey? Well, I have all your luck now, so
yeah.
But yeah, my number 2 is undeniably one of the most destructive fruits, and that's because within hours of its consumption, Enel used it to destroy Burka, and that is the one, the only, the Goro fruit.
Hell yeah. That's actually going to complete Josh's list because he also has that one on his list. So this is a very popular pick. I think this is one of the better Logias for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And perfect user or not, I still think anybody that picks up the fruit, that the first thing they do, they make a storm. They don't realize how big the storm is getting. Boom. That's why we use the Raijin Island as an example of a Logia awakening, because it's like this island has never known being consumed by lightning.
That's a great pick, man. For me, it's such an OP Logia. There's so much potential with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, for every Logia, I just always like pit it up against the Gasu, and I feel like the Gasu can replicate a lot of these things, but there is a level of being like an Electromancer that just the quickness at which you can do it, I don't think you'd have to be so much more cracked of a Gasu user to replicate some of the things that a very basic Goro user could do. It's still possible, but I think that as a baseline, this is one of the better Logia in just like anyone can just very, very easily crack this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even think of like a combination. A Gasu user puts a lot of hydrogen in the air, and then the nail goes to go zap it. And it's explosive immediately.
Yeah, this is another devil fruit that unfortunately got so plot nerfed because one, it was like introduced so easy, like so early into the story, And also there was literally the one walking hard counter to this, just storming right up to him, like it's crazy.
Hey, I'm a rubber boy. What's rubber? I don't know, but it you can't do anything.
Yeah, so this is a disgusting fruit that just got plotted all over, unfortunately, but really, really solid pick. It makes sense as to why it was on more than one of our lists. Kube.
No, that I have to say, with the with this fruit too, with the rumble fruit, even if you have hockey, you still have to be able to withstand being shocked at that level.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have enough hockey to break the devil fruit's effect fully, you still have to be able to withstand the shock of it. Like, which isn't.
Yeah, it's a problem that you have with the same thing with the Magu or the Mera, where it's not just surviving the attack, it's the heat that comes with it.
Exactly.
You can't negate that. Yeah,
For sure.
Exactly.
But Kube, I know you're probably going to have a lot more to say about this fruit, right?
Yeah, so because I have to speak about my second pick, and my second pick, surprise, surprise, is the Goronomi as well. That's why I was not talking that much. I said, you know what, I'm not going.
It's on 3 of our lists, and so highly rated as well on several of them. That's huge. What a fruit.
Yeah. For me, it's that. You've heard me say the way that you could just mix it with mantra, being like all-knowing, is crazy. Nak said also in the chat, because I'm gonna repeat it, is he restarted his own heart.
Yep.
The whole spinning up your nerve, like Luffy did the opposite. He dumped himself down to be able to avoid his predictions. But dude, like, imagine Sanji. Look at Brook, Luffy, and Sanji's reaction speed. Imagine with you add the gore with it, dude. You won't even have time to think they're gonna beat you up. They already know what they'll react.
Whoa, Brandon
It's
King.
like,
because there's like black lightning, like whenever you have hockey clashes, could he control his own like black lightning from hockey? Like if he would have like developed, that's sick. Like just to think about.
And I won't lie, the fact that the Nika fruit, we know now that it's not a rubber fruit, but it makes his body to desire to be like rubber. And the enemy of Nika seems to be the Gorosei, and this fruit is the Goronomi, and Luffy was his natural enemy. I've said this: if there was an original enemy to Nika, we might have met the will of that fruit. The will of that fruit might be connected to it. I've always said it's one of my oldest agendas. So for me, it's like such a great fruit. It's like and like I said.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's why I think as well. Do you find it very interesting that now we know that devil fruit seems to know stuff in this world, like instinct, and at a time where in the world government with all the researches, having a fruit like an L in your grasp would be so great. And the dude just happened to want to go the furthest from the earth to the moon. It's like, it's an interesting fruit. Like, it feels like it's more than just powerful, it's lore based, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you. And like what Dill was saying is like, this is why we were able to speculate for so long about a Logia Awakening is not just Punk Hazard and like the 2 halves that it has, but Raijin Island. And with going along with what you were saying, is it potentially being the natural enemy of Nika? We see Long Ring Longland where Usopp and Chopper are like stretching about and everyone there is free. And that could be an area that was permanently affected by Nika powers. And Raijin Island is something that has also existed for long enough to be named Raijin Island, whereas Punk Hazard, that was more recent. You know what I mean? So like there are 2, like, and then there's the Ennie's Lobby argument as well, but there are like 2 or 3 places that were like before even Punk Hazard were like potentially permanently affected by these types of powers. So I think that might feed into that a little bit. Yeah, it's a stupid fruit. It's really good. Stupid in a good way, like Nak said earlier.
Stupid little rumble fruit.
I mean, and this is all go fits. You're saying that the story is happy that the way we dealt with it because there's a lot of plot around it. It fits the same thing with Kuma's fruit, Kizaru's fruit. It's one of those fruits that are. Even Odazo, it's so cracked that he had to give a handicap to the user. You know what I mean? Some sort of handicap so that there's evening the field. It's one of those fruits as well. Like the pika. The pika, I mean, it's the only other fruit that could go faster than a Goro, but it's used by a very slow person.
I'm sorry. I just read what Will put in the chat a little while ago. He said, even as lightning is prejudice.
I didn't see that.
That is the funniest shit, dude.
I didn't read that. No, dude.
Oh my god. Oh wow. So my number 2 pick. Oh, we forgot to mention the Goro can also give you the power of flight. But my number 2 pick is this is a sleeper pick that I didn't see anybody else even thinking about picking up on, and it is the only mythical Zoan in my list because I wanted to only pick one, and the time has come, you guys.
It's chocolate fruit. I'm just kidding.
Sure. No, it is actually, and this is not at all a troll. Hear me out. This fruit is so good. Also ridiculously plot nerfed because of a terrible user. One of the worst users, but we are looking here at the Hebi no Mi mythical model Yamato no Orochi. This shit is busted. This is such a good fruit, dude. Oh my god. I love this fruit. Like when you think about when you think about Brooks fruit, like at a face value from what we've been from what we were given originally, is like you just get the power to come back to life. This lets you do that like 8 times. Like that's so good. Like plus you just have a gigantic Zoan form that can attack like multiple individuals simultaneously. Like I don't know if you guys understand like how like this with how little we know about mythical Zoans, when he splits and has like all of these different viewpoints, it's like being able to have like 8 different pairs of eyes or like 7 different pairs of eyes or however many faces this dude's got. But like that's insane, like being able to have that level of battlefield capability. And like in Myth, the Yamato no Orochi also has several different elemental capabilities, so this could, upon awakening, even entail something like the Seiryu, where Kaido was able to control magma, lightning, wind slices, his Boro breath and shit. Like this could literally be able to do all of those things as well if it weren't in the hands of a garbage devil fruit user.
I think we just didn't have the right user for it.
Yeah, it's so broken. It's so good. But like when you think about like one more thing really quick before I like spit it to you guys is like the Yamato no Orochi is one of, if not the most like destructive and prominent like yokai in Myth or whatever, or like it's not like directly a yokai, but it's like it is one of the most like famous across all of Japan, like just malevolent forces. Like this thing is like the penultimate most evil thing in so many different like verses and like myths and lore and things like this is it. This is like the cream of the crop, like the most destructive or evil thing. And we just got it, like we just unfortunately had to see it in Orochi, like he was a scrub with it.
Is it hard to observe too that it's only 8 heads? Because like in Greek mythology, the Hydra can lose several heads before.
Well, this isn't directly a Hydra, but it's similar. But yeah, like we don't know, because like in a Hydra, if you lose a head, you grow 2. This is not the case for this.
Yeah, it just grows another one.
So Brandon King and I both mind roped, because this is what I was gonna say is, we are just lucky that Oda decided to give Orochi that fruit, not Kaido.
Yeah.
Look how it took just to take out Kaido once. Imagine if the guy had 7 extra lives. Yeah, we're lucky in the plot. It was the other antagonist, the weaker one, that got it.
Yeah.
It's a really good pick.
It's one of the single most powerful, potentially one of the single most powerful. Like you think about like, when like in a video game, obviously it's cracked if you have a ridiculous luck stat, right? We were talking about that earlier, and just thinking about this like mechanically, like imagine just instead of everyone else in the entire world has 1 life except for this one guy who had 2, and you got like 8. That's just ridiculous, right? Like that's so good. Just that in and of itself is good. Like imagine like Roger had this and he didn't even know it was a Zoan, and it was just that he had like 8 lives and he never ever transformed. Dude would still be like the king of the pirates today. Like, you know, like I don't know, that it's just the implications of this, the power. This is stupid. This is such a freaking good fruit. I love it, and it's my number 2 pick. And we have completed Joshua Victor's list. We've seen all 10 of his picks, so that puts us back to the captain.
Listen,
Drum roll for your number 1 pick, man.
it's my number 1 pick, and it's the Hana no Mi, the flower fruit. And I know Dill spoke on it earlier, but after playing with it in a D&D capacity and having to think of how would I use the fruit, it's cracked. It is ridiculously cracked. And I think Robin does use it correctly and well and stuff like that, but I feel like there's so much more she could be doing with the Hana if she only had the time to actually train with it in a longer capacity than what we've seen. Because she didn't always use it for combat and things of that nature. And usually when she uses it for combat, she uses it for stealth. But if you had a full combat mindset using that fruit and just kept working at it with that mindset, I would not be surprised if you couldn't make giant replicas of yourself to attack multiple episodes on the
All I
battlefield.
want to do. No, I'm sorry.
Yes.
A
But
giant
I
woman.
believe it is one of the strongest devil fruits, and we have not seen the fullest extent of its power in the series even yet. I think it will be a step further beyond what Demonio Floor showed us.
Completely agree. Yeah, we spoke a lot on it earlier, so I won't like spend too much time. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I could see it definitely.
Sadly, I do have to pop off. I have to get the kids all fed up and stuff for dinner, so I won't be able to spit on your guys' number 1s. But had a wonderful time on stream today. Had a wonderful time on stream. One of the funnest streams we've had in a minute. And like everybody said, guys, we will be back in a more consistent capacity in the coming weeks. So hell yeah. You guys have fun with the rest of the stream.
Peace. Yeah, everybody make sure to go check out Straw Hat Lucas's channel, where you can see group 14, and you can see him use the Hana no Mi in One Piece D&D. Make sure you go check out his Seinen Saturday night Seinen, where he's reading 20th Century Boys, and we've got a Rambling Addiction dropping later tonight where Dill is actually featured, right?
Oh, who's featured on it? It's your boy No Chill Vex here.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of No Chill Dill, what we are brought to your number 1 pick.
Yeah. And it is, again, one of the devil fruits mentioned in Alabasta that allow the user the power of life. I'm partially kidding, but the theory side of me says that I'm not lying in this, and it is the Gura no Mi, aka the Quake fruit.
Ooh, how do you fly? I'm sorry, what?
Come on, you just quake the air as you take a step. We already saw that do it.
Yeah, look at how you ran to Whitebeard, to Roger. Dude was just sleeping in the air.
That's insane. Yeah, this fruit is just silly.
So
it's just so silly.
Not living up to what we've been told about it. This is one of the top tier examples. It's because Whitebeard had the power to destroy the world. He didn't have the ambition to destroy the world, so we didn't see him take his powers up to that scale. Blackbeard doesn't hold those regards.
You're not wrong. Yeah, this is the implications behind this fruit, just like what we were talking about with the Zushi with like Fujitora being able to pull down meteors. This fruit is disgusting. In a world that is like 98% ish water, being able to just throw tsunamis by cracking tectonic plates, being able to just like I had theories when I was watching Marineford. Just if we're talking about like implications and theory braining it and whatnot and speculation, I was like, is this dude able to crack like even metaphysical concepts like some other fruits that we have seen? Is it like, can this guy just crack the space in between him and his opponent to like cheat movement and like get there faster and like hit them? Like is this guy able to like crack the attack force of oncoming attacks? Like
this
if
guy
it, like,
with strong hockey, can he crack through future sight? Someone who uses all the time future sight?
yeah, it's so
Make it
stupid.
so that's impossible. Yeah,
It's
like,
actually
it's crazy.
ridiculous. Yeah, this fruit had to be taken out when it did, or it was going to be end game. And look at it, it's still end game. You couldn't stop it. That's how great this fruit is, you know. Like,
Yeah, man.
And like I touched on it a little bit with saying that Blackbeard doesn't hold those same regards as Whitebeard. We directly get told from the enemies of Whitebeard that, hey, this fruit could destroy the world in a second if it wanted to. And to see that go into a person's hand who doesn't have the same drawbacks of, oh, if I destroy the world, my family's gone. It's just, oh, you're in my way and you're gonna stop me? Oh, well, I can just destroy the world real quick, then you're not in my way.
yeah, it's ridiculous. This fruit was extremely underrepresented, again, kind of by the plot, and that's nothing against Whitebeard because he was a goat, but it's just that I feel like Oda literally can't show us all of that right now, you know. Like he's saving it, which amazing pick for sure. This is fully respect the #1 slot for the Gura.
Yeah, man, that's such a great fruit. Good pick.
Dude folded like Marineford like a taco.
Mhm.
Like that's insane. When you can just collapse islands in on themselves. Ugh, disgusting, right?
Mhm.
And that brings us to Cube.
Okay, so since it's my #1 pick, I have to do a bit of intro, because not only is the fruit OP, the user using it is OP.
Mentioned in Alabasta that grant the user the powers of flight.
Dude, it's a much better dude. It's because not only is the fruit OP, the character is not only OP, but now he's beloved. It is the fruit of a character that was called the Tyrant, the Hands of Liberation, PX0,
Let's
Kumachi,
go.
and that is a Niku no Mi, Kuma's fruit. And for those who don't know, I've always loved that fruit whenever I realized after Thriller Bark, and I think there was an SBS in the volume saying that it not only takes out pain, but also tiredness from you. Now, with everything we know since Egghead, I've said this, if there's one fruit that you can take back in the real world without being instantly targeted, it would be that fruit. You can heal people, you can help out people. If you went to different places in the world, you can go there whenever you want. No need to have a plane. It's such a versatile fruit. For me, it is the versatile fruit in the story. Just for me personally, always loved it. Sorry,
Yeah,
finish.
no, I
dropping
completely
the
agree.
fruit.
Yeah, it is. This fruit is stupid busted, and I don't think we've seen there's I was just mentioning, what if this fruit could interact with the Gura? What if it could interact with metaphysical properties? We've really only seen that legitimately confirmed with this fruit, and maybe it's just that Kuma is a goated user, but I'm more inclined to believe that this is just a absolutely top tier fruit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Again, it follows the other themes of the fruit is so cracked that I have to nerf the users, like Enel, like Kizaru, now Kuma. It's it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
It's it's so ridiculously goated, and if I recall correctly, it gave our beloved crew navigator her name. 3-day trip was because of Kuma being able to send people on a little 3-day trip. So you gotta love, so and it was introduced in the most goated arc of all time, Thriller Bark, and it's the most goated backstory of all time in what we got from Kuma and God Valley and Sorbet and everything like that. It's another one of these verse warping fruits where you can just pull memories, pull pain, pull exhaustion, pull God knows what else, from yourself or opponents or allies or anything like that. It's the ultimate support fruit. It's one of the ultimate offense fruits. It's literally stated that he can repel objects up to the speed of light. Crazy. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts.
Dude, it's such, and I've said this, like, if you cannot take everyone to Laughtell, all Luffy has to do is among the people, he takes Esbear and Kuma, and then they don't need to sell to Laughtell in the future. They can just go there. But it's for me, like I said, it's such an interesting fruit. And I'm so happy that obviously Kuma is still in the story, but you know what I mean. But we also have Esbear, so we have like two more possibilities with that fruit in the story with two characters. So
yeah, that's huge. What Nak is saying, that he's the only character that threatens Marco for his #1 slot. For me, Kuma is top 3. And that's a recent addition. You can call it recency bias all you want, but I'm pretty sure he's staying there because he is an absolute GOAT. And S-Bear will never come close, in my opinion, but it is still a cool way of having the fruit power live on because it's just so busted,
Dude, there's so much stuff. And that's something I've always wanted. I've actually never thought of this until this stream. Now that I'm thinking about it, I keep talking about what happens when you mix up with hockey, especially observation hockey. What happens when that fruit mixes up with hockey? Like, think of what Vykthor and NL can do with something that can touch.
I feel like it did.
The untouchable.
Like, did we get a Kuma, like, confirmation of Kuma's hockey? Like, regardless, like, because his will was like stifled like through technology. But I see what you're saying.
It was more armament aspect we saw of it, but like, just think of the mantra aspect, like NL or Vykthor uses. What can you do with your mind if you can, access stuff you're not supposed to? That's the core of the fruit. Yeah, it has so much potential. This is the fruit I tell you. You give me a choice of a fruit to take back in real world. That's the fruit I'm taking.
It's not a bad pick at all. It's a wonderful pick. I appreciate Kuma getting some love in the top 3, in the top 1 slot here from one of the crew. Highly respect that pick. Which brings us to the last entrant from our crew, my own top 1. And I gotta be real, I was trying so hard to not bring up Thriller Bark too much in this, but we gotta shout out to one of the most goated powers, the Kage no Mi.
You're right, bro. Piranha's fruit is the lead.
We already talked about Piranha's fruit, but
Suki, you're right. The Suki is such a great
oh my god, y'all. So
it's a fruit even Sanji wanted.
The ability to create all of these brick bats and ride on top of them, granting you the power of flight. So cracked. But like, having a doppelman, having the brick bats, being able to pull people's shadows and effectively one tap them if they get into the sunlight is insane. Like, that's like thematically, as well as like, and like if we see prison buff Moria getting re-entered into the story, which I fully believe that we will, this is one of the most terrifying abilities. There's people who are speculating, because of the little bits that we've gotten of Emu in the Gorosei, is that their powers could be similar. Just think about that for a second. Just the fact that the Kage no Mi is even in the same conversation as the person standing atop the world right now, the potential big bad guy at the end of everything, if it's not Blackbeard. So like, this is insane. Like, the Kage, much like the soul fruit, can just erupt an army, like a loyal, faithful army of undying, unrelenting, never gonna be tired, so ridiculously hard to deal with, like soldiers that and the only real way to like legitimately nerf it is salt, which is very abundant in this, but this is such a cool fruit. I could spit about this for literally a full stream. This is such a ridiculous pick, in my opinion. I don't know how nobody else put it in their list.
Yeah, no, it's a great fruit, it's a great fruit, but also just something that I'm not thinking about. they're just lucky that the environment where they fought Moria was an environment that lacked light. So he most likely was limited of how much shadow. Like he's strong with his fruit, so he made it work. But imagine you've got the Kage Kagenomi at Marijoa or inside the Gate of Justice
or Annie's lobby.
Like anywhere that has a lot of light and not taking someone's shadow. Like I'm convinced that if he was in an area where there was a lot of light on that island, he would create massive. It would be like Magellan's size of poison level. He was just limited. But since he's a strong fruit user, he was able to make it work.
Yeah, and like that's like so the thing is if you get eradicated by the sun, like obviously your shadow like dissipates and like you're not like he can't have like whatever zombie was like had your shadow in it will no longer like there's a reason he wanted to keep these people alive so he can build this like 1,000 strong army. And we're not even going to talk about Shadows Asgard right now. I'll get to that in a minute. But like, it's the best case scenario if he takes the shadow from someone and they immediately get eviscerated by sunlight. That's the best case scenario, because if that doesn't happen, then he has an undying like just like corpse that he and like this is insane. Like no matter which way you slice it, this power is cracked. And then we get to the point that he can put the shadows within himself to compile experiences and skills that he himself. It's like like a shadow clone, thing in Naruto, where like if Naruto pops out 5 different shadow clones and is training each of them independently, and then poof poof poof, they all return back to him. He retains all of that like effort and skill that he just like. So this is a way of him just like steal it like on the luck side of things, right? Like you're not pulling their luck, but you're pulling all of their skill. If you have a master swordsman and you pull the shadow out and put it inside of yourself, now you're a master swordsman. Dude, this is stupid. Yeah, it's insane. It's actually insane. Anyone who's susceptible to him, this is like this is like the ultimate like one tap ability, other than potentially the soul, in my opinion. These are way up there. This is my number 1 pick, not just because of Thriller Bark.
My whole thing with this fruit, and it might sound crazy for some people who are here downstream, because they still need more to the Kage to reach that point. I think that the Kage could be a counterpart to if the Soru is the light of this world, the Kage is the dark, is the shade of it. Like I think it could be comparable to the Soru in terms of what you can do in this world. We just met a nerf from Moria, because it does play on the realm of life and death as well, just in a different way.
Yeah, so this was one that I absolutely had to make sure to show some love for in our top 10 lists here, but we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. We are right at about the 3-hour mark. This has been goated. We love you all, chat. Thank you so much. Tell us what you think about our lists in the chat here, or if you're watching this in the future, in the comment section. Make sure you hit all the links in the description and join the Eternal Dawn Discord. Subscribe to my channel if you want some One Piece D&D stuff, where you could see Dill as well as Lucas being players in my campaign. You can also make sure to hit that notification bell for when we go live on the 24th with our own Eternal Dawn One Piece D&D campaign, DM'd by Blinkas. Major shout out to Blinkas, aka Kev. We cannot wait, where you can see me as well as Dill and several other members of the Eternal Dawn and the Eternal Dawn community playing in a One Piece D&D setting. Make sure to go check out Straw Hat Lucas, where you can see his Rambling Addiction literally releasing in just a little bit. Make sure you go check that out. All these wonderful links to all of our wonderful members and everything we got going on in the description. And make sure you have a wonderful day. Cube, do you want to